My House of Horrors Chapter 1161 to 1170. Brother Ma, if there's anything else, we can talk about it in the room next door. The corridor is really dangerous. Xiao Sun grabbed Ma Feng's arm and forcefully dragged him to the other side of the corridor. Don't. I've thought about it for a while, and I think. Ma Feng was dragged by Xiao Sun. He did not even have the energy to struggle. His head was spinning, and the world was spinning. His body was aching, and his eyes were dry. He had the urge to cry. Brother Ma, you don't have to say anything. I understand. But we've already run to the deepest part of the haunted house, and this might be the last scenario. Are you really willing to give up just like that? Then wouldn't all our previous efforts be wasted? Xiao Sun grabbed Ma Feng's collar. There is no such thing as despair in this world. There are only people who have given up hope. Perhaps we are only one step away from success. Ma Feng's lips tightened. He looked at the darkness around him numbly. Everything was hidden in the darkness. The monsters, the ghosts, the danger, and the exit. His fingers slowly tightened, and a weak flame burned in Ma Feng's eyes. Those who do not believe in miracles will never be able to create miracles. The haunted house boss also believes that no one will be able to escape from this place. But think about it, isn't the haunted house built for people to visit? Is there really a haunted house in this world that cannot be cleared or escaped? Xiao Sun's words were filled with power, and they pointed Ma Feng in the right direction. Gritting his teeth, Ma Feng also felt that it was too much of a waste to give up now. He rubbed his dizzy head and said slowly, Xiao Sun, let go of me first. I can walk on my own. Leaning on the wall, Ma Feng straightened his body and slowly moved down the corridor. There's a door every 3 meters. We'll stick close to the wall, and when we hear the cats, we'll hide inside the room. After we enter the room, we'll close the door. One of us will stand guard behind the door, using his back to block the door, and the other will search for the hidden path inside the room. We'll work together to maximize our advantage. Okay. Seeing Ma Feng's hope reignited, Xiao Sun even felt like crying. It was too inspiring. In that moment, he could even see a version of himself that refused to admit defeat. Xiao Sun firmly believed that he was just an ordinary person. In order to live a normal life, he would often read some words that were full of power to encourage himself. Brother Ma, we will definitely be able to find a way out of here. Xiao Sun and Ma Feng encouraged each other. The two of them struggled down the stairs. Every game had a way to clear the game. Ma Feng was a very smart and powerful person. Other than his flawed personality, he was very capable. With Xiao Sun's help, even though he had not gotten used to the darkness, he found the pattern of the monsters' movements. After being scared 5 more times, he and Xiao Sun finally came to the lowest floor of the Tower of Darkness. Along the way, Ma Feng was riddled with wounds. Other than the physical pain, his soul had also been subjected to inhumane torture. Every time Ma Feng was on the verge of losing consciousness, Xiao Sun would wake him up immediately. The repeated calls of Brother Ma caused Ma Feng to lose himself in the boundary between nightmare and reality. He held on to his last breath and persevered until now. After entering the last room at the lowest floor of the Tower of Darkness, Ma Feng sighed in relief. Xiao Sun also sighed. This is not easy. Even a ghost wouldn't be able to walk out of this. This is the last room. The hidden path should be here. Let's take a closer look. Ma Feng's voice was weak. If there was light, one would notice that his face was pale, and his lips were purple. He looked like a haunted house worker who had put on the makeup of a dead man. The two entered the room. Just as they reached the bedroom door, they suddenly heard a man's voice coming from behind the door. You're the 9th person that I've killed. Let me think, what should I take from your body? Nose? Ears? Never mind, I'll just take your eyes. I know you've been looking for the hidden path, but actually, the way out is hidden inside my room, inside the bedroom filled with cat carcasses. Are you feeling hopeless? You found the way out, but you can't escape anymore. I like to see the expression on your face now. After the man said that, the sound of a knife slicing through something echoed inside the bedroom. Then, blood leaked out from the gap under the door. Ma Feng felt like he had stepped on something sticky under his shoes. The murderer is giving us a hint. The way out is hidden inside the room filled with cat carcasses. Ma Feng's face was already twisted. The exit was inside the room that he was once hiding in, but he had followed Xiao Sun all the way to the lowest floor of the building. Before he could catch his breath, Ma Feng almost fainted from anger. He took a step back, and his shoes made a sound when they stepped on the blood. "Who is it?" The man's voice came from inside the bedroom, and then the cat's meowing echoed inside the room. Knowing that they had been discovered, Ma Feng and Xiao Sun started to run madly out the door. Go to the room filled with cat carcasses on the first floor. With the ultimate killer chasing after them, the whole Tower of Darkness entered its most tense and scary moment. The meowing of the cats echoed everywhere. Xiao Sun and Ma Feng ran as fast as they could down the stairs. Ma Feng's heart was racing. This was probably the most exciting experience of his life. "No, I can't run anymore. I can't hold on anymore. Brother Ma, believe in yourself. I really can't run anymore. Don't stop. We can win this." Quote. Xiao Sun's voice kept coming from the front. At that moment, Ma Feng had completely lost his sense of direction. Xiao Sun's words of encouragement were the only thing that kept him moving forward in the darkness. Chasing after Xiao Sun's voice, Ma Feng unleashed all the potential in his body. He tried his best to keep up with Xiao Sun's pace. The murderer was right behind them, following them like a shadow. Now, the only chance they had was to leave this scenario through the hidden path. The sense of urgency was indescribable. There was only one thought left in Ma Feng's mind: run. His muscles memorized the height of the stairs. Even if Ma Feng did not use his eyes to look, he would not trip on the stairs every time he took a step. Keep it up. Do not be afraid of the darkness. When the sky darkens to a certain degree, the stars will shine brightly. Humans can do it because we believe we can. If you are a grass, you should be an orchid. If you are a tree, you should be a pine. The human's words were imbued with the power of conviction. Ma Feng, whose mind was in a trance and whose body was about to fall apart, forced himself to return to the top floor of the Spire of Darkness with Xiao Sun's encouragement. He ran as fast as he could. All the distracting thoughts in his mind disappeared. It was as if his consciousness had merged with his legs. It was as if Ma Feng had disappeared from this world. There was only a pair of legs that kept on running in search of the exit. Crashing through the door, Ma Feng and Xiao Sun rushed into the room that was filled with cat carcasses. The two of them rummaged through the carcasses like they had lost their minds. The cats meowing in the corridor became more and more shrill. The whole scenario appeared to have changed. The walls were cracking, the building was shaking, and many mouths appeared to have appeared on the ground, ready to swallow the visitors at any moment. Various strange noises started to appear. The thing that scared Ma Feng and Xiao Sun the most was that there was a voice that sounded very similar to Chen Ge's coming from outside. They could not hear what the voice said clearly. The two ignored it and moved the carcasses of the cats away in a frenzy. In the endless darkness, a very faint light appeared. Ma Feng's hands moved even faster. "I see it. I think I see it." The bloody and messy carcasses of the cats were moved away. Under the carpet that was piled up with death, there was a light of life. A faint beam of light shone into the room through the gap in the hidden door. Ma Feng's eyes were wet, and tears were swirling in his eyes. "It's light, it's light." He gripped the handle of the hidden door and used all his strength to pull the door open. "Thankfully, I did not give up. All the sacrifices that I have made will be rewarded in the end. The pain that I have suffered will eventually become the gift that fate has given me." Ma Feng gritted his teeth. He had already planned how he was going to make things difficult for Chen Ge after he left this place. Ma Feng pushed the hidden door open, and the weak light chased away the darkness. He opened his arms like a proud flower blooming in the dark. There is no such thing as true despair in life. No matter how much hardship one has to endure, no matter how much suffering one has to go through, as long as there is a seed of faith in one's heart, then one day, one will be able to walk out from this predicament and allow one's life to bloom again. The gentle words from the book echoed in Ma Feng's heart. Facing the light, he ran into the hidden tunnel, using the fastest speed that he had ever run into in his life. Walking down the flight of stairs, a black iron door appeared before him. After going through countless trials and tribulations, Ma Feng dragged his wounded body and ran to the front of the black iron door. What is failure? It is nothing. It is just one step closer to success. What is success? It is to walk through all the paths that lead to failure, and there is only one path left, and that is the path to success. Removing the chain from the door, Ma Feng used both of his hands to push the iron door open. It's over, it's finally over. Tears that were filled with various emotions slid down the corners of his eyes. A man did not shed tears easily, but that was only because he had not been deeply hurt. Bang! The black iron door slammed into the wall, and Ma Feng saw the scene behind the door. The surging black fog made it difficult for him to open his eyes. The tears that were moved were quickly dried by the wind. Quang! His legs that had lost their strength could no longer support his body, and Ma Feng collapsed to the ground. Why? These three simple words were enough to express the complicated emotions that Ma Feng was feeling at that moment. Hope and despair collided together, and all the anticipation melted into a black fog. Looking at the black fog before him and the flickering the wisps in the fog, Ma Feng's gaze slowly pulled away. It was as if his soul had left his body, and he was silently looking in a certain direction. Brother Ma, Xiao Sun pressed lightly on Ma Feng's shoulder. For a specter to materialize a physical body, they needed to exhaust their negative emotions and accumulated resentment. Therefore, most of the time, specters were in a state where they could not be touched by living humans, but Xiao Sun felt that Brother Ma was worth consoling by materializing a physical body. This powerful boss had reached a bottleneck in his life, and now he needed help and encouragement. The hidden tunnel leads to the hidden scenario, and we have discovered the source of the black fog. This means that we are very close to clearing the scenario. Xiao Sun grabbed Ma Feng's shoulder and shook him vigorously. You need to pull yourself together. I'm fine, I'm fine. Ma Feng's eyes had lost the darkness and calculation. Instead, his gaze was rather dull. Brother Ma, don't tell me something happened to you? Xiao Sun felt like Ma Feng was in a state of mental wandering. He had hoped that through Ma Feng, he could change the prejudice that the futuristic theme park had against the haunted house, but now, the prejudice had not been changed, and the temporary boss was going crazy. Brother, we've been through so much to finally leave the scenario earlier. It's such a waste to give up now. Earlier, I also hoped that the exit would be behind the door. Perhaps the boss has thought of that as well. He purposely designed this last scenario to make people break down before the exit. Xiao Sun had no idea what he was saying. He just wanted to cheer Ma Feng up. No matter what, we cannot stop now. Ma Feng seemed to have consumed too much chicken soup, and now he was allergic to it. He continued to sit on the ground with a blank expression. He wanted to faint, but he could not. He wanted to move his body, but he did not have the energy to do so. Wanting to leave was an extravagant hope. He could only sit where he was. Brother Ma, do you think there is a scenario scarier than being deprived of one's sight? We just escaped from a completely dark scenario, and this building is located at the deepest part of the small town. Naturally, it is the scariest scenario. Perhaps we are only one step away from clearing this scenario. Xiao Sun started to convince Ma Feng. Ma Feng slowly lowered his head. His first instinct was to cover his ears. He was about to raise his hands when he suddenly realized how stupid he was to do that. Now, the only person who can help me is Xiao Sun. Perhaps he has come to rely on me. If I collapse, he probably won't be able to hold on for long. This is the power of a team. His arm was grabbed by someone. Ma Feng subconsciously lifted his head to look, and Xiao Sun's honest face was reflected in his eyes. What's wrong with me? I don't even dare to touch the helping hand that others have extended to me. Ma Feng hated himself for acting like this. He gathered the last bit of stubbornness in his heart, grabbed Xiao Sun's hand, and slowly stood up. The border between the two scenarios is the most dangerous. We will be attacked by ghosts from both scenarios at the same time. We need to leave as soon as possible. Xiao Sun also did not know where the exit was. Perhaps the exit of this scenario had not been designed yet. Clearing this scenario is impossible. We need to find a place to hide and survive the 60 minutes of experience time. 60 minutes? Ma Feng staggered, and he almost fell again. We've been here for 40 minutes already. We just need to hold on for a little longer. Xiao Sun looked around. He came to this conclusion based on his memory. There are man-eating monsters hiding in the black fog. The only safe place in this world is the apartment building. As long as we hide inside the apartment building, we have a chance of surviving the rest of the time. I'll listen to you. Ma Feng's mind was in a trance. It was as if his soul had been scared out of him. Just like that, he allowed Xiao Sun to drag him through the black fog. One after another, cursed faces appeared in the black fog. The muscles on Ma Feng's face twitched, and occasionally, he would laugh uncontrollably. He looked at the scary monsters around him, and he had slowly forgotten where he was and who he was. At that moment, his eyes were focused on Xiao Sun, who was still running. He admired Xiao Sun a lot. In his unhappy life, Xiao Sun was the first person that he felt was reliable. Along the way, it could be said that it was a narrow escape from death. Xiao Sun finally led Ma Feng through the black fog and arrived at the apartment building. Pushing open the door of Jinhua Apartments Block A, Xiao Sun led Ma Feng into the stairwell. I know a room that is definitely not haunted. We can rest there for a while. Xiao Sun led Ma Feng into the room that he had once stayed in. Once he pushed open the door, he heard strange noises coming from the stairwell. The other neighbors are coming, please do not speak. Xiao Sun pushed Ma Feng into the room. He hid at the door and observed the situation outside. The room looked very clean and normal. Ma Feng finally sighed in relief. He sat on the ground and looked at the posters of the singers on the wall. His eyes turned, and suddenly, Ma Feng saw a picture frame. It was a young man holding a guitar. He had a feeling that the person in the picture looked familiar. He forced himself to crawl to the side of the table. When he grabbed the picture, a death certificate fell out from underneath the picture frame. Sun Xiaojun, an indescribable fear instantly swallowed Ma Feng, and his whole body was shaking. The person that he had been relying on was the real culprit. Ma Feng's shaking hands almost lost their grip on the death certificate. It was a thin piece of paper, but it felt as heavy as a mountain in his hands. It crushed Ma Feng's heart. He was trying to escape from death, but he grabbed the arm of the Grim Reaper and ran for his life. He was trying to escape from ghosts, but he followed closely behind them and refused to let go. Ma Feng found it hard to breathe. He looked at Xiao Sun, who was leaning against the door, looking out, and his mental support crumbled into dust. The blood in his body seemed to freeze, and Ma Feng's world crumbled just like that. The world spun, and he collapsed heavily to the ground. He could still hear that voice calling out to him, "Brother Ma, Brother Ma. Brother Ma, Brother Ma." Xiao Sun shook Ma Feng's body as hard as he could, but Ma Feng did not respond. Perhaps Brother Ma had lost all interest in this world. We are already safe. Big brother, we have been through so much to reach a safe room, so why would you faint at a time like this? Quote. Xiao Sun had a bitter smile on his face. He could confirm that there were no haunted house actors in this room because this was the room that he had lived in when he was still alive. What should I do now? It doesn't feel like a normal fainting. Should I bring him to the underground morgue to see the doctors? But I am not that familiar with the doctors, and that old man looks very scary. With a human life at stake, Xiao Sun did not dare hesitate. He helped Ma Feng up and prepared to leave the room. They had only taken a few steps when the phone in Ma Feng's pocket suddenly rang. Xiao Sun took out his phone and glanced at it. The caller was called Chen Ge. I have some impression of him. He seems to be a rather good streamer. He came in here with Ma Feng. Xiao Sun was about to answer the call when he suddenly hesitated. I used Ma Feng's phone to answer the call, but Ma Feng is currently unconscious, and he cannot make any sound. That will easily cause people to think that it was me who knocked Ma Feng out. Even though I am also a haunted house actor, I cannot admit to things that I did not do. Quote. Not only did Xiao Sun not knock Ma Feng out, he even revived the unconscious Ma Feng many times. Therefore, he was not willing to take the blame no matter what. After thinking for a moment, Xiao Sun hung up the phone and sent a message to Chen Ge. I'm hiding in a room. There are people walking around outside the door. It's not convenient to talk now. A moment later, Chen Ge replied, I'm with the students from the medical school. Where are you guys? This haunted house is very dangerous. We feel like this place is really haunted. Quote. Seeing Chen Ge's reply, Xiao Sun raised his eyebrows. Exposed. Who was the one who exposed it? If the visitors knew that haunted house was really haunted, who would dare come here? What an eventful time. I have to think of a way to fix this. Quote. He held his phone and thought hard. In the end, he replied to Chen Ge. My partner and I have found a hidden tunnel. We have entered the hidden scenario. What about you guys? We are also inside the hidden scenario. The medical students saved me. They found the hidden tunnel inside a sub-scenario with the theme of the heart. Now, we are hiding inside a residential building inside the hidden scenario. Quote. Xiao Sun stared at the words on his phone. He did not expect that Qin Guang and the rest of the visitors had already entered the hidden scenario. Can you give us a more specific location? Are there any buildings around you that stand out? Quote. The sign outside the building says Ju Hong Apartments Block 2. There are no tenants inside the building, and it's filled with sick rooms. It's very scary. Don't wander off. I'll go meet up with you. After sending that message, Xiao Sun immediately ran out of the room, but he returned halfway. It's not safe to leave Ma Feng alone in the room. His condition is different from other people's. I'd better bring him with me. When I run into the other employees, I'll hand Ma Feng over to them and have them bring Ma Feng to the doctor as soon as possible. Xiao Sun had a good idea. He supported Ma Feng out of his room, but the strange thing was, even though there were so many ghosts inside the haunted house, Xiao Sun did not run into a single person. It appeared like everyone was trying to avoid him. This Ma Feng is indeed a big problem. No one wants to get too close to him. Inside the hidden scenario, Ju Hong Apartments Block 2, Heshan, Zuo Han, and Mr. Wang stood together. They surrounded Qin Guang, who was holding the phone, in the middle. Take a closer look at Ma Feng's message. Does this sound like Ma Feng's tone? Even someone like me, who has not interacted with Ma Feng for that long, can see the problem, and you're asking me why. Zuo Han shook his head. The person on the phone has already changed. Quote. But this is CEO Ma's phone number. Qin Guang still did not quite believe it. Why can't I explain it to you? Then why don't you explain it to me? Why didn't he call you but insisted on replying to your message? Quote. Perhaps it's not convenient for him at the moment? Wrong. It's because the actor who is good at mimicking voices has not arrived yet. When the actor arrives, he will use Ma Feng's voice to mislead you. Zuo Han waved his hands. Stop dreaming. A large group of haunted house workers already know our location. If you don't want to faint from fear, you'd better leave with us immediately. But what if it really is CEO Ma? When he arrives and realizes we're not here, Qin Guang was worried that Ma Feng would get angry. I'm telling you one last time. We were kind enough to let you follow us, but now you're the one begging us, so don't waste your breath. Zuo Han shoved a rag doll's head toward Qin Guang. Take it with you, and don't lose it. Do I have to bring this thing with me? Qin Guang held the rag doll's head with both hands, and his face was filled with unwillingness. We spent so much effort to find the rag doll's head, so of course, we have to bring it with us. Heshan did not have a good impression of Qin Guang's group. If not for the fact that Zuo Han felt that Qin Guang was useful, he would not have taken Qin Guang in. Not only do we have to bring it with us, we have to maintain enough respect for it. Zuo Han's voice had always been cold. When he thought about problems, he rarely mixed his personal emotions into it. Even if the visitors had once mocked and ridiculed him, as long as he thought they were of use to him, he would forgive them and take them in. The crux of the problem was that they had to be useful to him and help him improve his current situation. After clearing Coffin Village, Zuo Han had a deep fear toward the various quest items inside the haunted house. He knew that at the end of the tour, all the ghosts inside the scenario would go berserk and attack the people who had the quest items first. To put it bluntly, he had taken Qin Guang in because he wanted Qin Guang's death to have some value. Walking to the entrance of Ju Hong Apartments Block 2, Zuo Han signaled for Qin Guang to lead the way. The rag doll's head in your hand is a talisman. As long as you have it, you won't be attacked by the monsters in the black fog. Zuo Han had no idea whether he would be attacked by the monsters or not, but he had experimented with it before, and the rag doll's head could indeed dispel the black fog. Qin Guang walked at the front of the group with suspicion. Strangely enough, the black fog avoided him on its own. The black fog seems to be afraid of the rag doll's head. Why would that happen? This scenario is called the ghost fetus, so the rag doll is the ghost fetus. Zuo Han speculated based on his past experience. The boss of the haunted house is a master of psychology, and he can manipulate the fear in people's hearts to perfection. I can't use a normal mind to try to understand Mr. Chen's thoughts. Zuo Han touched the tip of his nose, and his eyes kept staring at the rag doll's head. The mission requirement is to find all the body parts of the rag doll. If the rag doll is the ghost fetus, then finding all the body parts of the rag doll is equivalent to the visitors voluntarily piecing together the scariest monster in this scenario, isn't it? With that thought in mind, Zuo Han felt a chill run down his spine. Mr. Chen wants the visitors to personally release the demon. Clearing the scenario was impossible. Just the thought of it made Zuo Han shudder. The terror that this scenario brought him was far greater than any other scenario. To make matters worse, he knew that this was not the scariest part of the ghost fetus scenario. The difficulty of a 4-star scenario is indeed different. This time, I'll just treat it as a scout. I already know the location of a hidden pathway, so the next challenge should be much easier. Zuo Han and the other visitors walked out of Ju Hong Apartments Block 2. With the protection of the rag doll's head, they were not attacked by the strange things in the black fog, and they arrived at the entrance of Block 1 very easily. Building 2 is filled with strange sick rooms. It seems like the tenants are all crazy. Could this residential area be a private mental hospital? The background of the ghost fetus scenario was very vague. Zuo Han could only speculate based on the clues that he had found. There were many clues hidden inside Ju Hong Apartments Block 2, but the thing that troubled Zuo Han was that these clues could not form a complete chain. Actually, this was not Zuo Han's fault. To prevent the ghost fetus and part of the secret of the cursed hospital from being exposed, Chen Ge had removed some of the important clues that originally existed inside the scenario. What the visitors saw was what Chen Ge wanted them to see. However, just from these scattered clues, Zuo Han and Mr. Wang still managed to come up with some conclusions. For the time being, let's assume that Ju Hong Apartments Block 2 is a mental asylum. The patients there are all very unique, and the strangest thing is that the doctors do not seem to want to treat them properly at all. Instead, they keep guiding them down the path of madness and aggravating their illness. The hidden scenario is the core scenario. The appearance of this private mental hospital proves that this private mental hospital is very important to the ghost fetus. Our main character probably completed his final transformation here. If the rag doll symbolizes the ghost fetus, then finding the missing parts of the rag doll is to awaken the ghost fetus. The difficulty of the scenario will increase to an unbelievable level. This is definitely not the best solution. Zuo Han glanced at the rag doll subconsciously and realized that the eyes on the rag doll's head appeared to be looking at him as well. His heart suddenly raced. To his surprise, Zuo Han saw a trace of sadness and loneliness in the rag doll's eyes. Finding the rag doll's body parts and bringing it out of the scenario is probably a suicide mission. The real way to clear this scenario is probably to reform the rag doll and help it find its release. Zuo Han's brain was spinning fast, and many ideas were colliding in his mind. "What are you thinking about?" Mr. Wang had a high regard for Zuo Han, so he asked softly. Zuo Han silently shared his speculation with Mr. Wang. The latter did not reply for a long time, but he slowed down his footsteps. It was not until he was far away from Qin Guang that Mr. Wang whispered, "Zuo Han, do you know what my biggest feeling is?" "What is it?" "Realism." Mr. Wang's expression turned serious. "It's too realistic. I've been involved in many heavy crimes, and this place gives me the same feeling as a murder scene." "You suspect that a murder has really happened here?" Zuo Han was very clever. Once Mr. Wang opened his mouth, he guessed Mr. Wang's thought. "Yes, and it's not just one." Mr. Wang took a deep breath. The layout of this place and the words left behind by those who died tragically all give off a bloody sense of realism. If you haven't been to the front line, you probably won't be able to understand it. But if so many murders have really happened here, then Mr. Chen's haunted house would not have been able to continue operating. From how I see it, he probably copied the murders that he was involved in into the haunted house and added some artistic touches to make it look like this. Hopefully, I'm just overthinking things. Mr. Wang walked at the back of the group. He rarely walked with his students like this. "Sir, if you were really interested in this place, We can come again next time. Zuo Han wanted to lighten the mood. He was afraid that Mr. Wang would be reminded of the bad things that had happened in the past. I'm afraid we won't have the chance anymore. I need to go to Shanghai soon. You still can't let go of that case, Zuo Han. Do you know what is the most important thing for a forensic doctor? To determine the cause of death from pathology, to provide the most effective support for the police to build a chain of evidence. You're right, but you're also wrong. Mr. Wang pointed lightly at his heart. In the end, he did not say anything else. Zuo Han did not pursue the matter. He merely memorized the 2 words Shanghai. If possible, he wanted to help Mr. Wang. The remaining 4 visitors entered Juhong Apartments Block 1. A faded stench permeated the dark corridors. Every house had a bowl of white rice placed at the door, and there was a pair of chopsticks stuck in the middle of the rice. Before we explore this scenario, I have to inform you that 2/3 of the tour time has passed. Soon, this scenario will enter its 3rd phase. All the ghosts will go crazy, so you'd better be mentally prepared. After Zuo Han said that, he led the others into the corridor. Not long after they left, the blood rain drenched the outer wall of the building. In the black fog, many red shadows slowly appeared. The visitors inside the building did not notice anything strange. Chen Ge, who was hugging the rag doll's head, walked at the front. After he realized that the rag doll's head could chase away the black fog, he had treated it like a treasure and kept it close to his chest. This time, I'm quite lucky. I've met a few old players who are willing to guide me, but I wonder what's going on with CEO Ma. He opened the doors one after another, and nothing happened. Chen Guang's courage slowly grew. When he reached the 3rd floor, a strange sound came from the 1st floor. It sounded like someone had accidentally knocked over the rice at the door. Do you hear any weird noises? Chen Guang held the rag doll's head in his hands and stood guard at the door like a mascot. Zuo Han's mission was to have him guard the door because the rag doll's head could disperse the black fog so that the ghosts could hide from it. This reason convinced Chen Guang. In the black fog, he had noticed that the rag doll's head indeed had this effect. Even if someone else asked him to hand over the rag doll's head, he probably would not have done so. Just stand guard outside the door and don't move. Warn us if you see any ghosts coming. Zuo Han and the other people from Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine searched the room. The real reason he had Chen Guang stand guard outside the door was so that Chen Guang could distract the ghosts. Even if there were ghosts, their main target would be Chen Guang. Okay. Chen Guang had just answered when he heard another weird noise. It came from downstairs. Slowly turning around, Chen Guang stared at the staircase. The worn-out walls were plastered with white, fu, characters, paper money was scattered on the ground, and bowls of white rice were placed at the entrance. The building looked like a large tomb, burying an entire building of dead people. It's fine, it's fine. I'm just visiting a haunted house. I've been to real supernatural scenarios before, so why would I be afraid of these fake things? Chen Guang tried his best to console himself, but he was afraid that once this kind of emotion appeared, it would grow like a poisonous weed. The more he tried to console himself, the more his mind would think about it. Chen Guang's eyes could not help but wander to the staircase. Since no one had come through it for a long time, the voice-activated light at the corner of the staircase had gone off on its own, and the whole corridor was plunged into darkness. Hiss, this is quite scary. Sucking in a cold breath, Chen Guang shrunk back. For some reason, there was a very bad feeling in his heart, like his biological instinct was urging him to leave this dangerous place. How much longer do you need? Chen Guang turned to ask Zuo Han. Zuo Han's voice came from inside the bedroom. Soon, after receiving the reply, Chen Guang felt a little more at ease. He was like a child who didn't dare to sleep alone. Every once in a while, he would talk to the adults to see if they had left. Just as his heart settled back into his stomach, a cold light suddenly shone on his face, and the voice-activated light at the corner of the stairs inexplicably lit up. There's no one in the corridor. I didn't hear anything either. He stared at the corner of the stairs. He did not notice the blood seeping out from the cracks in the wall. He only saw the black fog slowly dissipating in the corridor. The fog has entered the stairwell? His heart started to race. There seemed to be people moving in the fog. Focusing his attention, Chen Guang stared at the corner of the corridor. In the blink of an eye, a child's face suddenly poked out from the corner. Damn! Hugging the rag doll's head, Chen Guang retreated in a hurry, and his body knocked into the door. What's wrong? Zuo Han and He Shan ran out when they heard the noise. There's a child at the corner. He seems to have been following us. Chen Guang gripped the rag doll's head tightly, and his eyes stared at the stairwell. He Shan gathered his courage and walked to the stairwell. There was no child there. Are you hallucinating? He's not lying. There really was someone in the stairwell earlier. Zuo Han pointed at the voice-activated light. The light in the stairwell is on, so someone has been here. We need to move faster. Mr. Chen doesn't plan to give us any more time. Zuo Han had personally experienced how scary it was when all the ghosts in the scenario went berserk. That was a memory that he did not want to recall for the rest of his life. Go to the next room, quick. Zuo Han obviously picked up the pace. Chen Guang did not dare stand guard outside the door alone. The four of them entered the room together to search for clues. We're running out of time. Sweat broke out on Zuo Han's forehead, and there was anxiety hidden in his eyes. This was the first time that Mr. Wang had seen this kind of emotion on Zuo Han. Clearing this scenario was impossible, so Zuo Han had already started to consider his escape route. Of the four, only He Shan and Chen Guang were still searching for clues. I've discovered something very strange. Whenever there's a child in this building, something bad will happen to them. He Shan found a family portrait on the windowsill. The adults' faces were preserved, but the children's faces had been gouged out. This building seems to be inhabited by a ghost who desperately wants to have a family and love. He is very jealous of those happy families, and the happier the family, the worse the ending will be. You're being too one-sided. I think this ghost is very innocent. Even if he represents evil, it is a kind of chaotic evil. Zuo Han stared at the picture in He Shan's hand. Just like how some children like to tear off the wings of dragonflies, steal puppies and kittens and injure them. Their behavior is hateful, but it proves that they have not been properly guided. Zuo Han placed the family portrait back on its spot. Do you still remember Ju Hong Apartments Block 2? It's the private mental hospital that we were exploring earlier. Senior, why did you suddenly bring up that place? The interior of the two buildings are completely different. Block 2 is closer to a mental hospital while Block 1 is a very normal residential area. He Shan was confused. Think about what I said earlier. The ghost inside the building is a monster who has not developed a sense of self. If he meets the right person, perhaps he will repent and become a good ghost. However, the most despairing thing is that the previous scenario that we visited was a mental hospital. He not only did not receive any treatment, he was led into an even darker abyss. Zuo Han understood the relationship between the two buildings. Based on my speculation, every building in this hidden scenario should have a part of the rag doll's body. To find all of the rag doll's body parts, we have to experience all of the rag doll's experiences. We have to see how he slowly descends into the abyss and become what he hates the most. We've only found the beginning, so does that mean we have to visit at least 4 buildings? Chen Guang was in despair. The haunted house will not give out an impossible mission, so I've given it some thought. This time, the mission is not to find all of the rag doll's body parts but to experience the rag doll's experience and try to influence him to help him build a correct sense of self. At the very least, we need him to show mercy and let us go, Zuo Han said confidently. Why is he so positive? Chen Guang had a hard time accepting this. Of course, he could not be blamed. After all, the first impression that the haunted house gave was scary, like it was going to scare people out of their wits. Who would have thought that under such a scary appearance hid such a gentle heart? The rag doll's body parts can disperse the black fog. The boss wants us to find the rag doll's body parts for 2 reasons. 1, to force us to experience the ghost's life, and 2, the rag doll's body parts are a kind of protection for us to help us complete the mission. The boss is very powerful, and every mission that he gives us has a deeper meaning. Quote. Hearing Zuo Han say that, Chen Guang's hands that hugged the rag doll's head tightened. He did not know that Zuo Han's words were mixed with lies. The information that Zuo Han revealed was to make Chen Guang more obedient, to make him more willing to complete the mission that Zuo Han requested. The number of surviving visitors was very small, so Zuo Han started to pay more attention to Chen Guang. If this was any other time, he would not even have the thought of talking to Chen Guang because they were two completely different people. Zuo Han's attitude towards finding clues was obviously not as enthusiastic as before, and Mr. Wang's attention was more focused on observing Zuo Han. Of the group of four, only Heshan and Chen Guang were working hard to find the remaining clues at the haunted house. Entering the bedroom, Chen Guang, who was hugging the rag doll's head, got close to the bed. He noticed a layer of something that looked like black ointment on the bedsheet. What is this? He peeled back the mosquito net and looked inside. In the middle of the black substance was the shape of a living person, and he could see some small words in the empty space. Chen Guang stepped on the bed with his shoes on. He squatted down at the empty space, took out his phone, and aimed the light at the bedsheet. It came again today, still standing at the door. I have no idea what it is doing, but it seems like it wants to come in. It looks like my dead child, or at least it looks like it from the back. The family saw it too. It's not an illusion, it really exists. Whose child is it? Why would it appear in the stairwell at midnight? Just reading the words on the bedsheet, Chen Guang felt chills run up his spine. There's a ghost child inside this building. As he continued to read, Chen Guang felt a chill in his chest. It was as if he had swallowed a mouthful of ice in the middle of winter. He was engrossed in his reading when the shadow that appeared on the bedsheet due to the light from the phone suddenly moved. Chen Guang turned back to look. Heshan, who was closest to him, was standing at the bedroom door and did not come in. It's not that medical student. I've been squatting here, and I haven't moved. Could it be an illusion? Chen Guang did not dare stay in the bedroom any longer. He stood up, and his forehead touched the mosquito net, causing it to feel itchy. Reaching out to scratch his head, Chen Guang subconsciously raised his neck to look, and at that moment, he saw many faces lying on the mosquito net above his head. The pale outlines of the faces were printed outside the mosquito net, and the obvious facial features were sunken inward. All the faces were staring at him. And they had been staring at him for who knew how long. Ah! Chen Guang collapsed onto the bed. Footprints appeared on the black stains of unknown origin. It looked like the ghosts outside had run into the mosquito net. Help! Help! Quote. Hugging the rag doll's head, Chen Guang rolled down from the bed like a mad bull. His body was covered by the mosquito net. He yanked the mosquito net that was attached to the ceiling and rushed toward the bedroom door, screaming. Heshan was given a fright by Chen Guang's sudden scream. When he recovered, he saw Chen Guang ramming into him like a madman. The two tumbled to the ground. Chen Guang, who was wrapped in the mosquito net, rolled on the ground like he had not recovered from his fear. Shush! Zuo Han had no idea what Chen Guang had seen, but from Chen Guang's exaggerated reaction, he could tell that the ghost fetus scenario was about to start its final stage. Since Chen Guang was holding the mission item, he was the first to be attacked. Zuo Han signaled Mr. Wang, and the two of them worked together to pull Chen Guang out from the mosquito net. There's a ghost. I saw a ghost. It's inside the mosquito net. Chen Guang screamed. His face was pale, and his lips were purple from fear. I've had paranormal experience before, and this time, the feeling is even stronger than before. I'm not lying to you. This place is really haunted. Quote. I cannot confirm whether ghosts exist or not, but I do know that most of the time, ghosts are a psychological suggestion given by the victim. What you need to do now is to take a deep breath and stand with us. Mr. Wang's voice was steady and powerful. His words slowly calmed Chen Guang down. The rag doll's body parts are not in this room. Let's prepare to leave. Compared to Mr. Wang, Zuo Han appeared much colder. He was the first to walk out from the room and into the corridor. The black fog had covered the corridor, and many children's bloody handprints appeared on the walls. The blood on the handprints had not coagulated, like the children had just been crawling outside. It's the same scenario, but it gives me a completely different feeling from when I first entered this place. Mr. Wang's brows creased together. Honestly, none of the crime scenes that I've been to are as scary as this. The scariest thing is yet to come. Zuo Han pulled Chen Guang to stand before him. We're currently inside a hidden scenario. In other words, this is the last scenario of the whole experience, and the escape route should be at the deepest part of this scenario. If we're separated due to various accidents, then run toward the deepest part of this scenario, understand? Quote. Understood. Chen Ge felt like Zuo Han was a very loyal person. He had shared all the information with him and did not purposely hide it from him. You're holding the rag doll's head, so you have to be especially careful. Whether we can escape or not depends on you. Zuo Han wanted to give Chen Ge some more advice, but there was another change in the corridor. The black fog thickened, and the sound of high heels clicking came from inside the building. Someone's coming. It's coming from underground. Zuo Han perked up his ears. All the buildings in the ghost fetus scenario and the world behind the door were upside down. The first floor was closest to the surface, and the fifth floor was the deepest underground. The sound of high heels hitting the ground seemed to explode in their minds. Zuo Han and He Shan shared a look, and they were reminded of another legend at haunted house. There was a red specter that appeared randomly at this haunted house. No one knew what she looked like. Before everyone fainted, they could only remember hearing the sound of high heels clicking on the ground. Go back the way we came. Stop exploring this building. We're leaving now. Quote. Zuo Han's tone turned urgent. The four ran out of the building at full speed. The monsters in the black fog seemed to know that they had been discovered, and they became more and more reckless. Crying and laughter appeared at the same time. The doors were pushed open, and the paper money on the ground was ruffled by the wind. A strange mournful music came from the sealed corridor. The four forced themselves to run up the stairs. Several red shadows slowly appeared from the black fog at the corner of the corridor. What is that? Zuo Han felt his body start to shake uncontrollably. He did not even know why he was so afraid. The footsteps behind him came closer and closer, and the red shadows before him became clearer and clearer. Blood rain fell on the face, and a face with a sewn mouth was the first to appear before the visitors. Have you seen my child? Blood slid down the red raincoat. Before she finished, another fat man in a red shirt walked out. The man was dragging a large cleaver in his left hand and an unconscious, dead body, covered in blood in his right hand. Fu Bol. Seeing Fu Bol, who had become a prop at the haunted house, Chen Ge's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. His heart was squeezed, and he almost fainted on the spot. Just as the two red specters appeared, the sound of children laughing came from above the visitors' heads. They lifted their heads to look, and a child covered in blood was dragging a large pile of dolls on the roof. Stay here and play with me. The blood fell on Chen Ge's face. He walked at the front, and the three red specters surrounded him. His legs felt like jelly. Just as Chen Ge did not know what to do, the footsteps from downstairs finally approached. In the black fog, a pair of red high heels slowly appeared. She was like the queen of curses, surrounded by many strange monsters. Behind you! Behind you! Chen Ge screamed. The high heels were only several steps away from Zuo Han. They were already at the edge of despair, and everyone was on the verge of collapse. Behind me! Zuo Han's reaction seemed to slow down. He seemed to have just realized something, and he turned his head to look behind him. Through the black fog, Zuo Han happened to meet the pair of eyes that were filled with curses. His heart skipped a beat. Even though he was mentally prepared, Zuo Han still felt his scalp go numb. But the biggest difference between him and a normal visitor was that he had a determination that far surpassed a normal person's. His brain worked fast, and in that moment, Zuo Han knew what he should do. When a person is scared beyond what their body can handle, they will fall into a temporary coma, and their body will react at the same time. When a normal person is scared, their body's circulatory system will go haywire. Their coronary arteries will spasm, and that will lead to blood loss throughout the body. Then, they will experience irregular heartbeat, tachycardia, shortness of breath, discomfort in the precordial region, and breathing difficulties. The relevant knowledge flashed through his mind. Zuo Han held his chest. Like a fish that had been tossed onto the shore, his eyes rolled back, and his body collapsed backward. This was a hopeless situation, so Zuo Han decided to pretend to faint. He had been planning this since the beginning. He had had Chen Ge hold the doll's head to attract the actors and told Chen Ge to run deeper into the scenario. After Chen Ge lured the actors away, he would return through the hidden tunnel. His body tilted to the side. Before Zhuo Han could fall, he suddenly heard a plop. His eyes opened slightly, and Zhuo Han realized that Mr. Wang had fainted on the ground. His face was unnaturally red, and he looked like he was in pain. Before he fainted, he used his arm to press against his head. When a person is scared, their endocrine system will go haywire. The symptoms are severe redness on the face, and it will be accompanied by an increase in blood pressure and body temperature. At the same time, being scared will trigger a reaction from the nervous system. The symptoms are dizziness, headache, and a small number of people will even vomit. From a medical perspective, Mr. Wang's fainting was obviously more professional. The older the ginger, the wiser. Zhuo Han and Mr. Wang fainted at the same time. When He Shan saw this, he reacted immediately. However, he had just placed his hand on his chest, and before he could collapse, Chen Ge grabbed his arm. "Quick, run. This is our chance." Quote. F***ck. Let go of me. Quote. After the appearance of the red high heels, the three red specters slowed down like they were afraid of the current red high heels. Chen Ge made use of this opportunity to drag He Shan through the three red specters. The two ran like their lives depended on it. The three red specters and the red high heels chased after them as they ran out of the building. After the few red specters left, the black fog in the stairwell did not dissipate. If anything, it thickened. The children's creepy laughter echoed in the stairwell, and monsters weaved from curses crawled on the walls. Without the presence of the haunted house workers, the scene appeared scarier than before. Once those red specters make their move, we can only do the backup work. A woman in a floral dress walked over, and there were two men following behind her. One of the men looked to be in his 40s, and he always had a smile on his face. "Miss Dress, Mr. Wood, looks like the two of you have also experienced the joy of this job. Scaring the visitors and gaining negative emotions, it not only helps them but also helps us. I realize that the boss is such a genius. He managed to come up with an idea like opening a haunted house." Miss Dress, who was wearing the floral dress, was impressed by Chen Ge. The boss has many other amazing things about him, but the main thing is that he is really looking out for us. He treats us like family. The middle-aged man walked to stand beside Zhuo Han. Every time a new scenario opens to the public, there will be a group of visitors sacrificing themselves to the gods. Actually, I have a good impression of the students from the medical university, but alas, they did not come at the right time. Zhou Zhe, do you think the way we scare the visitors will really cause them problems? Mr. Wood, who was rather wooden, looked at the two fainted visitors and felt pity for them. It's fine. To prevent this kind of problem from happening, the haunted house has specially prepared the most professional medical team. All the fainted visitors will be brought over for examination, the middle-aged man called Zhou Zhe said proudly. There's a medical team. Yes, they are at the underground morgue. We will go there now. The medical team was at the underground morgue, so what Zhou Zhe said sounded strangely out of place. However, since Miss Dress and Mr. Wood were new, they did not dare ask too many questions. The three workers carried the two fainted visitors. After they moved the visitors out of the building, there were other workers who prepared the carts to move the dead bodies. All the employees appeared to be used to this kind of situation. Everyone very familiarly loaded the visitors into the vehicles and transported them to the outermost area of the ghost fetus scenario. There are more unconscious tourists this time. The doctors are already here. Under Zhou Ji's command, two unconscious tourists were sent to one of the buildings. Be careful, don't knock their heads. The haunted house worker pushed open a closed wooden door. There was no light in the room, but the temperature plummeted like they had entered a fridge. Dr. Wei, please restrain your breath. Don't freeze the tourists, Zhou Zhe reminded him softly. Another student from Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine. The old man's voice came from inside the room. Hearing this, Lao Zhou smiled bitterly. The other employees reacted normally, but one of the fainted visitors inside the room started to shake. This time, it is not only a student from Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine but also a teacher from Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine. Zhou Zhe pointed at the fainted visitor and took a step back. Teacher, what's going on? Why did the teacher come in here to mess around? Dr. Wei in his white coat and 3 other doctors walked out from the inner room. The 4's eyes skipped over Zuo Han and focused on Mr. Wang. When he saw Mr. Wang, Dr. Wei practically blurted out the man's name. When he said that, the fainted visitor on the ground started to shake violently. Mr. Wang, who was usually stern and serious, opened his eyes. When he saw Dr. Wei, his eyes reddened instantly, and his voice was choked with emotion. Teacher. Teacher's teacher. Zuo Han, who was still pretending to be unconscious, opened his eyes slightly. He was too curious. Being recognized by his student, half of Dr. Wei's anger disappeared. The old man did not answer for a long time. Seeing Mr. Wang crawl up from the ground, he said, "You've got the wrong person." Then he turned and walked into the inner room. Teacher. Mr. Wang chased after Dr. Wei. He knew that Dr. Wei was no longer alive. Previously, he had personally sent Dr. Wei away, but now he was seeing his teacher again inside the haunted house. The person who had passed away appeared before him again, but Mr. Wang did not feel fear. He just wanted to catch up to the man. The long period of unconsciousness had caused his legs to go numb. Just as Mr. Wang stood up, his hands were grabbed. "Let go of me," he struggled and screamed his teacher's name. At that moment, he acted like a child. No wonder he's a teacher from high school. His acting skills have fooled even ghosts. Mr. Wood grabbed Mr. Wang, and Lao Zhou's hand pressed lightly on Mr. Wang's head. Without much force, Mr. Wang's body slowly collapsed. The room returned to silence. After Mr. Wang really fainted, Dr. Wei walked out from the inner room. The old man's expression was complicated. He squatted before Mr. Wang and studied him for a long time. This student's personality is the most similar to mine. In fact, he's more serious than I am. You'd better find a way to make him forget this part of his memory, or else he will spend the rest of his life fighting against our haunted house until he finds out the truth. Are you sure you want him to forget? You're his teacher. Perhaps he just wants to remember you. Lao Zhou felt like it was better to get to the bottom of this. What do you mean by remember? I, Wei Jukan, have done everything that I could when I was alive. I have taught them everything that I know, and I have no regrets. Dr. Wei waved his hands. The living should look forward. It's understandable to feel sadness occasionally, but wallowing in sadness in the past will only trap them. Okay, then I'll go get Zhang Yi now. Lao Zhou and another worker went to get Zhang Yi. Dr. Wei's eyes slowly moved away from Mr. Wang to look at Zuo Han. He shook his head. You probably don't know this, but this is actually the 3rd time you've pretended to be unconscious. Zuo Han knew very well that the old man's words were directed at him. His eyelids fluttered, and he suppressed the great fear in his heart and did not open his eyes. Dr. Wei looked at Zuo Han's youthful face and slowly reached out to touch the boy's head. You are the most talented child that I've ever met. You have all the necessary requirements to become a good forensic doctor. There is nothing more that I can teach you, but I hope that you will remember this: always uphold justice. The dead cannot speak, but the forensic doctor has to speak for the dead. The old man was suddenly reminded of Chen Ge. Now that I think about it, Mr. Chen is indeed doing what a forensic doctor should do. Could it be that the haunted house and Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine are fated to be entangled together? The relationship between the haunted house and Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine was very good, so good that people on the internet speculated that the students of Zhejiang University of Law and Medicine were all ghosts, hired by the haunted house. They are both seeking justice for the dead who cannot speak. Perhaps that is the key to their mutual understanding. Dr. Wei did not use much force, but Zuo Han suddenly felt a chill on the back of his neck, and he slowly lost consciousness. Making a living person unconscious was not a difficult skill for a baleful specter. With Chen Ge's request, this skill had become one of the skills that all the employees at the haunted house had to learn. Moments later, Lao Zhou led Zhang Yi into the room and hid part of the visitor's memory. Let go of me. He-san waved his arms furiously, but Qin Guang was probably too nervous to even hear He-san's voice. All he could think about was running away. The two broke through the circle of red specters and ran out of Zhuhong Apartments Block 1. The whole hidden scenario was covered in black fog, and it was impossible to tell which direction to go. Qin Guang and He Shan did not dare stop. They did not even have the time to catch their breath before they ran into the black fog again. Zuo Han said that the exit is at the deepest part of the scenario. I have the rag doll's head, so the ghosts won't dare get close to me. If I'm really trapped, I can leave this medical student behind and have him attract the ghosts' attention. Qin Guang ran like his life depended on it. He felt like he still had a chance of escaping. Hey, don't run around, He Shan called out urgently, but Qin Guang's eyes were already red. The host who had just come out from the hospital was on the verge of a mental breakdown again. He did not want to be sent back after only 2 days. When a person was stimulated by fear, their potential would be triggered. Their adrenaline would skyrocket, and their physical fitness would increase greatly. Qin Guang and He Shan, who did not like to exercise, forced their way through the fog with the pursuit of the red specters. Another building appeared before them, Jinhua Apartments Block A. There's no way out. Don't go in there no matter what. If you're trapped inside the room, you're dead, He Shan warned loudly. Just as he finished, he saw a shadow crawl out from the stairwell. Both of them were stunned when they saw each other, but it was Qin Guang who reacted first. You're Xiao Sun. I didn't expect there to be a survivor. Sun Xiaojun was shocked. He wanted to say something else when he suddenly felt the blood boiling in the black fog. Several red specters were following closely behind them. This stunned even a haunted house worker like him. What the f***ck? What have you guys done? Quote. Without another word, Xiao Sun turned around and ran back into Block A of Jinhua Apartments. When a creature was in danger, it would act like a herd. Wherever the leader ran, the rest of the herd would follow. When Qin Guang saw Xiao Sun run into the stairwell, he dragged He Shan and ran into the building as well. The three of them continued to descend. The building seemed to lead straight to hell. One floor after another, and there was no end in sight. He Shan's heart was filled with despair, but there was no turning back. He could only follow Xiao Sun and Qin Guang down the stairs. Brother Sun, where are you taking us? Qin Guang also slowly realized that something was wrong. The building extended underground like it was bottomless. I have no idea. Why are you following me? Sun Xiaojun was just a baleful specter. He was afraid of red specters, especially after he had done something wrong. Just like that, the two visitors chased a ghost all the way to the lowest floor of Jinhua Apartments Block A. Along the way, they did not dare stop for even a second because there were many abnormal neighbors living in this building. The way they looked at them was like they were going to swallow them alive. Blood dripped down the banister and the wall. The black fog flowed into the building. The three visitors had nowhere to run. What should we do? There's no way out. I've told you not to run into the building, you just wouldn't listen. Get into the room, quick, hide, the tour is about to end. Quote. The three visitors pushed open a random door. They covered their noses and mouths as they ran into it. What is this? After closing the door, He Shan's group realized that there was no furniture in the living room other than a bunch of old-fashioned square televisions. The televisions were stacked together, and just looking at them made one feel suffocated. This feels weird. The room suddenly became quiet, and the footsteps outside the corridor slowly disappeared. The room that they were in seemed to have been forgotten by time. The air froze, and there was the sound of static. The screen of the television that was placed in the middle suddenly lit up. The faded cold light fell on the three visitors' faces. Through the black and white snowflakes, they could see a shadow that was slowly walking toward them. When the screen returned to normal, a child's face appeared on the screen. The child's eyes appeared to have passed through the screen and were staring at the three visitors. A smile slowly appeared on his cold face. His body retreated, and the scene that appeared on the screen shocked everyone. The figures of the three tourists appeared on the TV screen, and the child was sitting in the middle of the three of them. He's right here. Qin Guang pointed at the empty space before him. There was nothing there, but the television clearly showed that there was a child standing there. It should be a projection. Before He Shan finished, all the televisions in the living room were pressed at the same time, and all the screens lit up. The static tormented the visitors' every nerve. After the screen stabilized, the three visitors saw a scary scene that they would not forget for the rest of their lives. Every television was showing extremely scary scenes. The scenes happened inside the haunted house, and some of the main characters were their former companions. It was suffocatingly real, but that was not the scariest thing. All the murderers, specters, and red specters seemed to have come to an agreement. At some point in time, they seemed to notice that someone was looking at them. On the television screen, their hands were covered in blood, and their eyes slowly turned to look at the three visitors outside the screen. Bloodshot, crazed, and bloodthirsty eyes stared at the visitors. The expressions of the ghosts and murderers slowly changed. It was as if they had found a new prey. With various weapons in their hands, they slowly walked toward the screen. They got closer and closer to the screen. The scary faces stuck to the screen. Just as the three visitors were about to be scared to death, all the televisions in the living room were suddenly switched off. The cold light disappeared instantly, and the three visitors collapsed to the ground. They gasped for air like they had been given a new lease on life. However, before they could recover, all the televisions were switched back on. This time, only the victims were left on the screen, and the murderers and specters were nowhere to be seen. "Where have they gone?" Seinen stammered. At that moment, there was a knock on the door behind them. Dong, dong, dong. The three visitors instantly left the room. Their faces were pale, and none of them dared to open the door. The knocking became more intense, and the door shook. 10 seconds later, the door suddenly opened. There was nothing outside the corridor, but the light inside the room suddenly dimmed. The light from the television screens appeared to be blocked by something. Seinen, who was closest to the television, turned to look, and his eyes froze on the television screen. The images on all the televisions changed, and they all showed the room that they were in. Other than the three of them, the house was crowded with all kinds of people. Blood dripped, and the screen was dyed red. Many shadows appeared inside the room, and the images on the television screen were turning into reality. Chen Ge was scared out of his wits. Before Seinen fainted, he was reminded of the first time he came to the haunted house. If only I hadn't been so greedy that afternoon and used the park's discount voucher that was about to expire. The wheels of the cart rolled over the road. Lao Zhou hummed a tune as he happily transported the visitors out of the underground scenario. The longer he worked there, the more Lao Zhou liked this job. He was thankful that Chen Ge had picked them up. Now that Bai had become a red specter, Duan Yu had walked out from her sorrow, and even the most dejected Yan Danian had realized his dream. All of this was because of Chen Ge. Turning back to look at Chen Ge, who stood among the red specters, a smile appeared on Lao Zhou's face. "I've gotten to the bottom of everything. The main reason this happened was because of me. I underestimated your power." Chen Ge and the few red specters surrounded Xiao Sun in the middle. Brother Sun had a pitiful expression on his face, and his watery eyes were wide open. "Boss, I know I'm wrong. Can you give me a chance to fix this?" "How do you plan to fix this?" Xiao Sun crawled up from the ground and walked to the woman in the red raincoat. He grabbed the woman's wrist with both of his hands and placed the woman's hand on his chest. "Big sister, I swear. No matter whether your child is alive or dead, I will help you find him." After saying that, a black and red thread appeared on Xiao Sun's heart. The thread curled around the red raincoat's pinky finger. For a baleful specter to become a red specter, they had to have their own heart, and the heart was made up of these blood vessels. However, the blood vessels inside Xiao Sun's body were all black and red, which was very strange. Staring at the thread on her pinky finger, the red raincoat paused for a long time before nodding slightly. "Xiao Sun, will you pass your bad luck to the red raincoat?" Chen Ge asked softly. He was worried that something like that might happen. Hearing Chen Ge's words, Xiao Sun felt like crying. Chen Ge quickly consoled him. "Since the red raincoat has forgiven you, then that's the end between the two of you. But you almost demolished the haunted house, so you'll have to pay for that separately. I didn't do it on purpose. It doesn't matter if the haunted house is torn down, but the problem is, you almost scared that Ma Feng to death. If the man fainted, then so be it. But why did you have to wake him up again and again? My scalp tingled when I saw it on the monitor. I even began to sympathize with him." Chen Ge was telling the truth. Going into shock and fainting were the self-protection mechanisms of the human body. She had already fainted from fright, yet she was woken up again and again. This was no different from living a life worse than death. If I said that I wanted to save him, would you believe me? Xiao Sun spread his hands, a helpless expression on his face. When Ma Feng wakes up and hears what you said, he will probably faint from anger again. Chen Ge and the surrounding employees all laughed. Xiao Sun was always doing bad things out of good intentions. This couldn't be completely blamed on him. This was his own ability. You can laugh at me all you want. In any case, I do not plan to pretend to be a visitor anymore. You have no idea how nervous I was when I was surrounded by more than 10 living people. Xiao Sun leaned against the wall. He looked like he had given up on being treated. Actually, he knew his own ability, but he also wanted to blend in with the rest of the group. Xiao Sun, pretending to be a visitor is indeed a waste of your talent. I have a very important mission for you next. The smile on Chen Ge's face slowly disappeared, and his expression turned serious. This mission is related to the survival of our haunted house. Noticing the change in Chen Ge's tone, Xiao Sun also straightened up. Brother, are you sure you want to give me such an important mission? I am afraid I will not be able to do it well. You are the most suitable person for this mission. Of course, the current you is still not strong enough. I will join the other haunted house employees to give you special training. Chen Ge planned to fully unleash Xiao Sun's potential and let this cursed seed grow into a giant tree. Come to the staff break room this afternoon. I will explain the details to you then. Okay, there's nothing else for us to do. Try to restore the scenario as soon as possible and return to your posts to welcome the next batch of visitors. After that, Chen Ge walked out from the underground scenario. Lao Zhou had already moved the fainted visitors to the entrance. Chen Ge only needed to push all of them out. Pulling open the thick curtains, and following the creaking of the cadaver cart, all the visitors gathered outside the haunted house turned to look at Chen Ge. The warm sunlight fell on him, and Chen Ge pushed the first cart of visitors out. Oh my god, looks like there are no survivors again. Quote. Look at how peaceful their smiles are. Do you still want your ice cream? Keep crying? If you keep crying, when you grow up, I'll send you to the haunted house for a tour. Where have all the people who posted about challenging the hardest scenario disappeared? The master of the cadaver cart and the master of the cadaver cart? Before so many visitors, Chen Ge pushed out the top designers of other haunted houses. Shu Shu, please call more people over. There are more coming? After this cart, there are 3 more. Chen Ge moved all the visitors who had visited the ghost fetus scenario out. As other visitors had predicted, all the visitors had fainted, and none of them could stand up. Shu Shu had already contacted people to rush the visitors to the park's infirmary. If this was at any other theme park, it would be a big deal if a visitor fainted. But at New Century Park, many visitors had gotten used to it. More than 10 people had fainted, but there was no chaos in the park. Everyone was orderly. Those who needed to queue did so, and those who needed to visit visited. At most, they would take 1 or 2 pictures or videos as souvenirs. In less than 10 minutes, everything returned to normal. At noon, there was still a long line outside the haunted house. Shu Shu started to distribute water to the visitors who had been waiting for a long time. Inside the haunted house, Chen Ge had already returned to the staff break room. Currently, there were still 4 employees standing in the room. Xiao Sun, this time, the mission that I am going to give you is very important and very dangerous. Before you agree to it, you'd better listen to every word I have to say. Chen Ge sat on the chair and waved to the side. The red specter, bye, got the hint and placed a black, opaque bag on the table. Our haunted house is currently facing a very big crisis. In the world behind the ghost fetus door, we have killed a demon god from the cursed hospital in Shanghai. That demon god has probably been consumed by Zhang Ya already. This is a blood feud, and the cursed hospital will definitely come for revenge. This was the first time that Chen Ge had told his employees about the cursed hospital. The hospital is located at the border between Shanghai and Zhejiang. It is slightly closer to Shanghai. It is very dangerous, and there is more than one demon god there. Chen Ge did not hide anything. He told them everything that he knew about the cursed hospital. At that moment, he could trust all the people in the room 100%. This time, there are people from the cursed hospital mixed in with the visitors. Their power is very unique. They can even avoid the detection of a top red specter, But thankfully, due to Xiao Sun's existence, we discovered them before they came. Because of me, Xiao Sun did not even know what he had done. Yes, you caused the haunted house to be covered in smoke. I thought that the cursed hospital had already reached the central area, so I quickly called all the employees to come and save the day, but who would have thought that there were really people from the cursed hospital hiding among the visitors? After Chen Ge said that, Xiao Sun scratched his nose in embarrassment. I did not do it on purpose. Whether you did it on purpose or not is not important. The important thing is that you have shown your amazing talent. Being an extra at a haunted house is a waste. You need a bigger stage. As Chen Ge spoke, he opened the black bag that was placed on the table. Inside it was a patient's garb. The garb looked very normal. There was no hospital's name written on it, only a number, 101. Other than the patient's garb, there was also a patient's record inside the bag. There was no name on this patient's record. All the places that required the patient's signature only had a number, 101. Number 101, Xiao Sun, from now on, this will be your number. My number? Xiao Sun accepted the patient's garb with confusion. His head was filled with question marks. Big brother, you are not planning to make me play the role of the patient, are you? I do not know how to act. You not only need to play the role of the patient, you also need to infiltrate the cursed hospital and gain enough information. Chen Ge waved at Zhang Yi. The slightly hunchbacked Zhang Yi took out a lingering spirit that was about to dissipate from his pocket. This lingering spirit is the real patient 101, but he is now suffering from dementia. His remaining memory has been tampered with by us. Take this and practice with Zhang Yi. Try to understand it as much as you can and then become it. Big brother, are you sure I can do that? Xiao Sun was not confident in himself. After all, he had almost destroyed the ghost fetus scenario earlier. That is why I have found a few other teachers for you. Chen Ge had Lao Zhou come over first. You can follow your Zhou Zhe. I have arranged everything. Everyone will help you and make you the perfect actor for our haunted house. Okay. Xiao Sun took the patient's garb and the lingering spirit of patient 101. He was about to leave when he was stopped by Chen Ge. Wait a minute. I still have a few books with me. Take them. Chen Ge took out several thick books from under the bed. There were books on social relations, micropsychology, interpersonal relationships, and so on. The best psychologist in Zhujiang once recommended me to read these books. Now, I am giving them to you. These things might not be useful, but they will help you change the way you think about problems and broaden your mind. Chen Ge recommended some of the books that Dr. Gao had recommended to him to Xiao Sun. The whole process was like some kind of mysterious inheritance. Good luck. After the haunted house employees left, Chen Ge lay in bed to rest for a while. The cursed hospital has already made their move on me. I need to be prepared. Chen Ge took out pen and paper and started to draw on them. He arranged the things that he needed to do according to their priority. Zhang Wenyu and I are already very close. If I work a little harder, perhaps I will be able to win him over. Before I go to Xinhai, I need to take him down. Even though they were both red specters, the feeling that Zhang Wenyu gave Chen Ge was very unique. He did not have the yin energy of a ghost on him. If he did not say so himself, most people would have treated him as a living person. Other than Zhang Wenyu, there are some more famous ghost stories in Zhujiang. In the next few days, I can bring my employees out for a stroll. Perhaps we will be able to make some new friends. Other than Zhang Wenyu, I need to keep my promise to Chang Jiyu. I need to find the backup that Chang Wenyu left behind. The siblings set me up at the school of the afterlife. After I save them this time, I need them to contribute to the cursed hospital. Due to the existence of Zhang Ya, Chen Ge could basically do whatever he wanted in Zhujiang, but compared to the cursed hospital, the overall power on his side was still quite lacking. The cursed hospital is related to the me from 20 years ago. They know me very well, but my understanding of them is limited. Before the real battle, it will depend on whether Xiao Sun can bring me some surprises or not. Chen Ge had a lot of trust in Xiao Sun. He had personally tested Xiao Sun's power. Everything is ready. Now, all I need to do is wait and try my best to turn this variable into my support. At 2 p.m., a shrill scream suddenly came from inside the intensive care ward at Zhujiang People's Hospital. The doctor and nurse rushed into the room. They saw a patient that had been sent in that morning rolling on the ground. His body was curled into a ball, and he kept shaking from fear. Calm down, Shang Guan Qing Hong. You have already left the haunted house, you are safe? Initially, the patient was just afraid, but when he heard the term haunted house, he started to scream again. Doctor, what should we do now? Sigh, it was not easy to treat him, but he ran back to seek his own death. I really do not know what to say. Never mind, it is a good thing that he has woken up so soon. Send him back to the normal sick room. The nurse used the wheelchair to push Shang Guan Qing Hong down the hospital corridor and arrived at a familiar sick room. Pushing open the familiar sick room door, Shang Guan Qing Hong saw many familiar faces. The room was filled with all the victims of the haunted house. At that moment, everyone was looking at Shang Guan Qing Hong in the wheelchair with confusion. Didn't he just leave the hospital 2 days ago? Why is he back? Has he relapsed? Qing Hong, didn't you say you were going to teach Mr. Chen a lesson? How come? His friends only mentioned the name Mr. Chen, and Shang Guan Qing Hong shivered. He covered his ears, and his lips were moaning like a child that had been abandoned by the world. Brother Shangguan, you're back. What about Qin Guang? He is still undergoing emergency treatment. It is still uncertain whether he can be saved or not. The nurse rolled her eyes at the other patients. Shang Guan Qing Hong needs rest. Do not discuss anything related to the haunted house. Whenever he hears the word haunted house, he will relapse. Do you understand? Understood. The old patients looked at Shang Guan Qing Hong with pity. They had all fainted from fear. Shang Guan Qing Hong had been hospitalized twice, and that was already very courageous. At least, he had tried to resist. At that moment, no one knew about Ma Feng's condition. They felt that fainting twice was already quite a feat. At around 5 p.m., New Century Park's business for the day was coming to an end. Director Luo suddenly called Chen Ge into his office and placed a document before Chen Ge. Director Luo, what is this? There's one thing I've already helped you negotiate. Director Luo opened the document, and it was a contract. The boss of the haunted house in Shanghai has completely given up on the haunted house business. He appears to have contracted a disease that will make him go crazy whenever he hears the word haunted house, so he is selling the haunted house at a low price. You've told me about this before, so when he put up his haunted house for sale, I saw that the price was so low, so I bought it directly. Shang Guan Qing Hong is finally willing to give up on the haunted house? Has he given up on the haunted house? Chen Ge looked at the contract in his hand. Director Luo was basically using his own money to buy the haunted house and then gifting it to Chen Ge. I cannot sign this contract. The park will pay for the purchase, and the final profit will be mine. If I lose money, the park will cover for me. That is not fair to our theme park. Chen Ge did not want to sign this contract not because it was unfair but because Director Luo was taking too much care of him. Without your haunted house, New Century Park would have been crushed by the futuristic theme park already. Think of the haunted house in Shanghai as my gift to you, but I do have a small request. A smile appeared on Director Luo's face. Your haunted house in Shanghai needs to have the name of New Century Park added to it. Okay. After half an hour of negotiation, Chen Ge signed the contract. Next, Chen Ge planned to focus on dealing with the cursed hospital. He wanted to turn the Shanghai branch of the haunted house into a safe base. Welcome to Fanfic Audiobook, your go-to place for immersive audiobooks. If you enjoy the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Chen Ge did not expect everything to go so smoothly. Before this, he had been eyeing the haunted house in Shanghai. But even though Shang Guan Qing Hong was scared to the point of being hospitalized, he still did not plan to sell his haunted house. He seemed to know that the plot of land was rather unique. But happiness came so suddenly. Chen Ge had no idea why Shang Guan Qing Hong had suddenly accepted it. Perhaps he has realized the gap between him and my haunted house. If there's a chance, I should go visit him at the hospital. Holding the contract, Chen Ge walked out from Director Luo's office. By then, the theme park was about to close for the day. There were still many visitors lining up in front of the haunted house. Many people had come from afar to visit the haunted house, so they kept lining up to experience as many scenarios as possible. There were many internet celebrities and self-media workers. Chen Ge's haunted house had provided them with a lot of material, and of course, they had contributed to the popularity of the haunted house. Other haunted houses would not allow people to enter the haunted house to film, but Chen Ge's haunted house was a bit more unique. Returning to the staff break room, Chen Ge put the contract away. Director Luo told him to go to Xinhai as soon as possible and to let him know if there was anything he needed. But Chen Ge was not ready to go to Xinhai yet. Zhujiang was the place where he grew up. He had a very special feeling toward this piece of land. Even though there were many ghost stories in this city, whenever he stepped on this piece of land, he would feel strangely at ease. It was as if there was a mysterious force that was protecting him. Xinhai was a relatively unfamiliar city for Chen Ge. The cursed hospital might have already set up a trap, and they were just waiting for him to come knocking on their door. Before I go to Xinhai, I have to be fully prepared. Not only do I have to bring my Red Spectre employees, I have to inform Captain Yan to have his colleagues in Xinhai pay attention. Chen Ge had met with the police in Xinhai before. When he first went to Xinhai, he had been taken away by the police because he had jumped out the window from the second floor of the haunted house, and that had given him a taste of the police cars in Xinhai. The police and the citizens are one family. The reason I am going to Xinhai is because I want to do my part to maintain the security of Xinhai. I believe the Xinhai police will be able to understand me. Lying on the bed, Chen Ge took out the comic and the black phone. He looked through all his employees' information and memorized their abilities. There are still many things that I need to do. Furthermore, I am not the one who should be panicking now. The cursed hospital has mysteriously lost a demon god, so they will definitely continue to send people to Zhujiang to investigate. I only need to deal with the people that they have sent to Zhujiang, and that will continuously weaken their power. After the ghost fetus soul was destroyed, the pressure on Chen Ge was greatly reduced. In fact, one could even say that he was slowly gaining control of the situation. Xiao Sun was brought to the underground morgue by Lao Zhou for special training. Other than honing his acting skills, Xiao Sun also had to study psychology, basic medicine, and neurology. The other employees were also busy with their own things, preparing for the final mission. At around 9 p.m., Chen Ge carried his backpack and walked out of the haunted house. He brought a few red specters with him. He planned to help Zhang Wenyu complete the dead man's dying wish and see if he could make any new friends. After running around for a whole night, Chen Ge had helped Zhang Wenyu with a few more tasks. Now Zhang Wenyu had a lot of trust in him. He believed that Chen Ge was one of those rare people in the world. Actually, other than Chen Ge himself, many of his employees had already realized that Chen Ge was actually a very charismatic person. He could bring courage and strength to those who were in despair, and he had an outstanding ability of empathy. He could understand other people's pain and listen to other people's past. Is it because I have attracted too much attention by bringing so many red specters with me? How come I haven't run into any lingering spirits in one night? After giving it some thought, Chen Ge felt like he should change his way of thinking. This city is too big. Blindly searching for baleful specters is like searching for a needle in a haystack. I need to find a more effective method. Then, Chen Ge took out the black phone and clicked open a page. A strange black wheel appeared on the screen. I am now a red specter's favored. If I draw 10 more baleful specters, my title will level up again. When the title leveled up, Chen Ge would gain more specters' favor and their affection, but correspondingly, he would suffer more tragedy and misfortune. If the title level up again, I wonder if I can handle it. Speaking of which, are there only baleful specters in this wheel? F***CK. There are so many good things written on it, but the probability of me drawing a baleful specter is so low. Am I Sun Xiaojun's long-lost big brother? The sky outside the window was starting to brighten. Chen Ge put the black phone away. I'll take a nap. After helping the employees with their makeup, I'll go to the futuristic theme park. Their theme park is quite nice. It'll be perfect for the lucky draw. New Century Park opened for business at 9 a.m. After using the trolleys to push more than 10 visitors out the previous day, there was no one who came looking for trouble today. Even the number of paid posters on the Haunted House app had decreased. Shoo shoo, I have something to do. I'll leave this place to you. Chen Ge carried his backpack and hailed a taxi to the futuristic theme park. He bought the ticket online. When he swiped his ID, all the machines at the self-service counter lit up with red lights. Moments later, 3 workers from the futuristic theme park ran over. They followed him the whole time. Those who did not know might have thought that they were some important person who had come to visit. I'll feel very uncomfortable if you guys act like this. Chen Ge carried his backpack and was guarded by the 3 workers. I'm just a normal visitor now, relax. Originally, Chen Ge just wanted to try his luck at the lucky draw, but he felt quite embarrassed to be surrounded by so many people. Mr. Chen, we don't want to do this, but one of the younger workers was about to say something when he was interrupted by an older worker. The 3 of them did not say anything and just followed behind Chen Ge. If you want to follow me, then follow me. Chen Ge wandered to the futuristic theme park's haunted house. He realized that on the haunted house ranking, the second place would catch up to him in another 5,000 points. A sense of danger rose in his heart. Since I'm already here, I might as well go in and play. The ticket is so expensive. I shouldn't waste it. Chen Ge walked to the control panel and randomly clicked on the machine. He was not picky. He selected all the scenarios one by one and then selected a hellish mode. The futuristic theme park seemed to be doing this to prevent Chen Ge. Now, the machine could no longer mix 50 scenarios at once. The computer would automatically select 10 scenarios from all the scenarios for the visitors to visit. With the workers looking at him warily, Chen Ge entered the futuristic theme park's haunted house. A solo tour, that was Chen Ge's trump card. Listening to the strange music, Chen Ge felt like he had returned to his own backyard. His expression was relaxed, and he had the vibe of a young, artistic man inside the haunted house. After easily clearing 2 scenarios, Chen Ge found a blind spot that the cameras could not see. He silently took out the black phone, swiped the screen, and clicked open a page. Without realizing it, I've already accumulated so many scare points. Should I go for 10 straight? Ever since I obtained the black phone, I haven't experienced something like this. Zhang Ya shouldn't be asleep, and I'm inside someone else's haunted house. Most importantly, their boss just came to my haunted house to wreak havoc, so it's not too much for me to go to his haunted house and draw 10 straight, right? Chen Ge slowly convinced himself. Actually, he knew in his heart that the lucky draw process was safe. At least, there had been no accidents during his previous lucky draws. Looking at the wheel on the phone, Chen Ge took a deep breath. I refuse to believe that 10 specters will appear in one go. Gritting his teeth, Chen Ge chose to spin the wheel 10 times. Looking at the spinning wheel, Chen Ge's heart rose to his throat. The black wheel was slowly dyed red, and this was something that had not happened before. With Chen Ge as the center, the temperature in the room started to drop. Blood-red patterns started to appear on the black phone's casing, but they disappeared as quickly as they appeared. There were ghost faces flashing on the screen, and the various signs gave Chen Ge a very bad feeling. The spinning wheel slowly stopped, and the black phone kept vibrating. It had received 10 messages. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a special type of spectre, Shi Guo. Shi Guo, rare special spectre. Draw rate 1%. A lonely soul that wanders the subway's 4th line. It has traveled through time, gone through yesterday, lingering between minutes and seconds. It is a ghost that has been forgotten by time. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a baleful spectre, Toilet Ghost. Toilet Ghost, draw rate 5%. Looks like a good for nothing. He has nothing special or unique about him. He likes to stay alone in the bathroom. He looks like an old man who has lost interest in marriage and life. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a special item, Butterfly Hairpin. Butterfly Hairpin, special baleful spectre autumn butterfly's possession. Draw rate 3%, the first present that you gave me. I have always worn it on my head. Hopefully, one day, you will be able to see me in the crowd and the butterfly hairpin that you gave me. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a special type of red spectre, Shui Rong. Shui Rong, special red spectre. Draw rate 7%. I once created hundreds of beautiful faces, but one day, I realized I could no longer see beauty. Warning: Red Spectre Shui Rong is extremely dangerous and sensitive. Please head to the new district's Yi Ren Pavilion Beauty Salon after midnight. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a special item, Bai Cholan's broken arm. Bai Cholan's broken arm, condensation of resentment. The lost broken arm was secretly taken away by a gambler to be used by the casino owner to collect debts. The temperature in the room was close to zero. Every message on the black phone was related to a baleful specter, and the resentment was almost leaking out from the phone. 10 draws, 9 baleful specters in one go. Chen Ge wiped away the cold sweat on his forehead. Even he was shocked. Other than Bai Cholan's broken arm, the other 9 were all baleful specters, and one of them was a red specter. The black phone recorded the specter's abilities and the key points to pay attention to. These specters were scattered all over Zhujiang, and Chen Ge needed to personally bring them home. 10 draws and only 1 red specter. Looks like the chance of drawing a red specter is still very low. I was really lucky to have drawn Zhang Ya back then. Chen Ge had no idea whether his luck was good or bad. The temperature inside the haunted house slowly rose. Chen Ge cleared a few more scenarios like he had just finished his high school exam to ease his nervous heart. I only need to draw 1 more baleful specter, and the title of Red Specter's favored will level up. The problem is, I still have enough terror points to draw many more times. Chen Ge was very conflicted. His rationality told him to stop, but his heart itched as he looked at the wheel on the phone. My parents' disappearance is probably related to the cursed hospital. In other words, they are the creator of all the tragedies. Facing such a powerful opponent, I have to give it my all. Chen Ge found another blind spot. It's rare that I come to visit the futuristic theme park. Why don't I use up all the terror points I have inside their haunted house? If he drew 1 more baleful specter, his title would level up. Chen Ge had thought things through. After all, danger was coming. Since it was unavoidable, he might as well make the storm come harder. Sliding the screen, Chen Ge drew 10 more times. Congratulations, Red Specter's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a special item, Xu Yin's music score. Xu Yin's music score. He was once innocent and happy. He once believed in beauty and sunshine. He turned all his love into a song and sang it to the girl who killed him. Congratulations, Red Specter's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a special item, incomplete birth certificate. Incomplete birth certificate. Men Nan was born in a mental hospital. The world that is twisted in the eyes of normal people is the world that he grew up in. This birth certificate has his mother's signature, and it is the last memory that he has. Congratulations, Red Specter's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a special item, White Valentine's candy. White Valentine's candy. She personally made these candies for you. You have to eat every single one of them. Congratulations, Red Specter's favored. Congratulations for obtaining a special item, Blue Raincoat. Blue Raincoat. She bought a blue raincoat with cartoon characters for her child. The child in the raincoat looked like a cute little penguin. That night, there was a storm in Liwan City. She held her child's hand as they waited for the bus at the bus stop, but when the bus for Route 104 arrived, her child disappeared. No one knows where her child has gone. Perhaps this blue raincoat will provide some clues. After the second 10, Chen Ge was stunned. I didn't get a baleful specter? This is illogical. Could it be that I've sucked all the specters out of the prize pool? In terms of probability, a baleful specter was indeed a rare item. Even a normal specter was hard to come by, much less a red specter. Isn't this torture? I've already prepared for the title upgrade, but the last baleful specter still hasn't appeared? Chen Ge thought about it rationally for half a minute before making a very irrational decision. Should I try another 10? His fingers slid across the screen out of habit, and the strange wheel on the black phone started to spin. The temperature in the room did not drop. Following the vibration of the phone, Chen Ge received another 10 messages. Congratulations, Red Specter's favored, you have obtained a nightmare mission reward. After using the reward, The haunted house daily mission will be updated with a new nightmare mission at midnight on the same day. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored, congratulations. You have obtained the haunted house employee outfit, Clown of Misfortune. Clown of Misfortune. They always laugh when they see me cry. They think my sadness is hilarious. Warning. The Clown of Misfortune outfit consists of a clown mask, a blood makeup box, and a human skin circus costume. After changing into the costume, an unknown special effect will be produced. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored, congratulations. You have obtained the haunted house employee outfit, Gourmet. Gourmet. I am the world's most picky gourmet. I have tasted the meat of almost every animal in the world. Then I became obsessed with the best ingredient. Do you want to come with me to the kitchen to take a look? Warning. The gourmet outfit consists of a black suit and a good night briefcase. This outfit can increase one's charm. Friendly reminder. Do not open the briefcase when there are many people around. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored, congratulations. You have obtained the haunted house employee outfit, Stranger. Stranger. Random murder is one of the most difficult cases to solve. There is no pattern, no motive, no connection, and the simplest method of murder. When you walk alone at night, please be careful of the stranger that passes by. Warning. The stranger suit is only a set of casual clothes. This suit can minimize your presence. Even if someone sees your face, their memories of you will be forgotten very quickly. Congratulations, Red Spectre's favored, congratulations. You have obtained the unique type item, Unforgettable Wedding Ring. Unforgettable Wedding Ring. Not long after the marriage, the husband often stayed out at night. One night, during a storm, the husband left and never returned. The police searched for 3 weeks, but they could not find the husband's body. The broken wife spent her days in tears. The case became an unsolved case. No one knew where the husband had gone, and the woman became crazy. She would often talk to the 2 wedding rings on her fingers. Warning. When you wear the rings, no matter how far away you are, you will be able to sense each other's location, but wearing it for a long time will negatively affect your body. It was another 10 consecutive wins, but Chen Ge really seemed to have drained the pool of ghosts. This time, he still did not get a specter. The prizes he got were all tools, and they were not particularly rare. Did I waste all my luck on running into ghosts? That's not right either. This has been 21 consecutive times, and I haven't drawn a baleful specter. Could it be that I'm accumulating my luck? Will I draw a top red specter or a demon god next time? Shaking his head, Chen Ge also felt that it was unrealistic. After all, a demon god and a red specter were on 2 completely different levels. After completing the 30 consecutive draws, Chen Ge memorized all the rewards that he had drawn and then slowly cleared the haunted house at the futuristic theme park. Quick! He's out! Brother Zhang, Brother Zhang. That person is heading towards the exit you are in charge of. Attention all departments. Cheer up. Pushing open the last door, Chen Ge walked out from the haunted house, and he saw Zhang Ming, who was guarding the exit. Long time no see. How have you been? Chen Ge initially thought that Zhang Ming would hate him, but that was not the case. Zhang Ming very naturally greeted him. Thanks to you, I'm doing quite well. Thanks to me? You sent that idiot Ma Feng to the hospital. Now, even my breathing feels normal, Zhang Ming said softly. The management of the futuristic theme park was different from New Century Park. There seemed to be more internal strife. After Zhang Ju was hospitalized, Ma Feng took over the management. As Zhang Ju's adopted son, Zhang Ming's life was not that good. Don't say things like that. Him being sent to the hospital has nothing to do with me. We have signed the disclaimer agreement. Chen Ge walked past Zhang Ming. He really wanted to tell Zhang Ming that compared to Ma Feng, he was the one who personally sent Zhang Ju to the hospital. After playing for a few more times, Chen Ge's haunted house accumulated more than 10,000 points before he prepared to leave. Looking at his back, the workers at the haunted house were shocked. Big data analysis and visitor simulation were completely useless against Chen Ge. They had predicted that someone would only be able to achieve this result after half a year. Hailing a cab to return to New Century Park, Chen Ge rushed straight to the haunted house's prop room. The room that was already filled with many props now looked even more crowded. There were many things in the corner, but if one did not look closely, one would not notice them at all. It was as if these things had always been there. It feels like they belonged to the haunted house. Chen Ge had no idea when these things appeared, but it felt like someone had pushed open one of the doors and moved these things into the prop room. It should be my imagination. Chen Ge held the black phone and listed all the items that he had drawn according to the item description. At around 6 p.m., the haunted house closed for the day. After the living employees got off work, Chen Ge called most of the ghost employees to the first floor with the comic. If a visitor came in at that moment, they would probably be scared to death. The corridor of the closed haunted house was filled with people, and none of them had taken off their makeup. Some of you have been working at my place for a long time already. Initially, you were not used to it, but now, you have become my mainstay. Your changes have exceeded my expectations, and our haunted house has become better and better because of you. Chen Ge opened the door to the prop room. I am very grateful to everyone, and I wish to do something for all of you. Boss, you're being too polite. We have already treated this place as our home. If not for the haunted house, we would probably still be roaming around in some corner of the city. Lao Zhou stood next to Duan Yu, and his face was filled with happiness. In any case, I like this job. I can feel an emotion that I haven't felt for a long time here, and I don't know how to describe it. I don't feel like I'm working, it's more like I'm playing a game. It's quite interesting, Meng Nan said casually. He did not want to admit that a red specter like him would work for Chen Ge. At any other place in this city, no matter what I do, no matter what I see, everything around me is reminding me that you're already dead, that this world doesn't belong to you, that you're just a ghost that doesn't fit in, that you should have died a long time ago. But here, I've never had that feeling. I don't need to hide my real self, and no one will suspect me. After the monitor from the School of the Afterlife said that, many students nodded. They were a group of homeless children. Before this, I didn't care about anything, but after I lost everything, I started to regret it. I thought a scum like me would have no chance to change, but I didn't expect to meet the boss. Bai had one hand in his pocket, and he leaned against the door. Before this, I didn't have a choice. Now, I just want to be a good worker. Hearing Bai's voice, Chen Ge blinked. I've always wanted to do something for you. Next, I'll give you some presents. Those who haven't received any presents, don't worry, you'll get them in the future. He waved at Bai Cholan. Bai, the first present is for you. I found the location of your broken arm. It's being used by the casino owner as a tool to collect debts. Chen Ge passed a piece of paper with an address to Bai Cholan. Initially, I wanted to help you get it back, but I think it's better for you to go there yourself. Face your past and start over without any regrets. Bai Cholan had become a red specter because he had consumed Shangqing's heart. He had not found his own heart, so even though he had become a red specter, he was still too weak. Accepting the paper, Bai used his remaining hand to grip it tightly. Even though he had become a red specter, he was still missing an arm. Normally, he could use blood vessels to weave fingers and a broken arm, but that was just a lie. The missing part of his soul was due to his memory. When he cut off his own arm, he had also cut off his past. Thank you. We're family, so there's no need to thank me anymore. Chen Ge patted Bai's shoulder. Perhaps because Bai was too emotional, he did not hide his blood vessels and aura, and they splashed all over Chen Ge. Does an employee get a gift? Meng Nan stood at the door. Even though his tone was condescending, there was a trace of envy at the bottom of his eyes. Gifting an employee a broken arm. This company benefit matches your presence quite well. Seeing how Meng Nan kept mumbling to himself, Chen Ge walked to stand before Meng Nan. Even though you're not my employee, you've helped me many times, so I've prepared a gift for you as well. I have one as well. Meng Nan's eyes lit up, but he soon returned to normal. Tisk, it's probably something weird again. Chen Ge shook his head. He took out a carefully wrapped letter from his pocket. This is for you. Don't open it yet. You can read it when you're alone. What is it? Why are you acting so mysterious? Meng Nan accepted the letter. He did not listen to Chen Ge. Out of curiosity, he tore the envelope open. It's just a piece of paper. His eyes scanned the signature on the paper and the mother's blessing for her child on the back of the paper. Meng Nan, who had been making a fuss, fell silent. He stood at the door in his red shirt, holding the paper with both hands. Meng Nan's mother loved him deeply, and there were many things that she had not told Meng Nan. Your mother's last wish will come true because you will become happier and happier. Chen Ge squatted down before Meng Nan and whispered. This time, Chen Ge had drawn many items, and most of them were related to the haunted house's employees. These items could help the employees repair the flaws in their souls, making them stronger and more perfect. After distributing the gifts to the other employees, Chen Ge called over Xiao's son, who was looking at him eagerly. Big brother, do I also have a gift? To be honest, I do not have many friends. Other than my parents, I have not received a gift from anyone else. Xiao's son was very expectant. Then I am afraid I will have to disappoint you. What I am going to give you is not a gift but a life-saving item. Chen Ge took out a pair of wedding rings from the prop room. The wedding rings appeared to be made from bone ash. There were 2 hearts connected by chains carved on them. Wedding rings? Xiao's son was stunned. He was suddenly reminded of a certain demon god inside Chen Ge's shadow. Instantly, his soul almost flew out of his body. He quickly waved his hands. Big brother, I can't. This wedding ring was made by a woman using the body of her cheating husband. It is called the unforgettable wedding ring. When 2 people wear this ring, no matter how far they are from each other, they will be able to sense each other's location. Chen Ge handed one of the rings to Xiao's son. You are going to the cursed hospital. I will keep an eye on your movements while I am in Shanghai. This is not a gift for you. It is for you to use to save your life. Even though he did not receive a gift, Chen Ge's words still touched Xiao's son. Chen Ge was not sending Xiao's son to his death. He was doing his best to help Xiao's son. Thank you, big brother. Xiao's son looked at the wedding ring in his palm. His heart was warmed, but his rationality told him that it was better for him to ask more questions. Brother Chen, are you sure I will be able to reach the cursed hospital alive with this ring on? What are you trying to say? I am trying to say, Xiao's son winked at Chen Ge's shadow, trying his best to hint at it. Don't worry, she is not as narrow-minded as you. After saying that, Chen Ge ignored Xiao's son. He took out a child's blue raincoat from the prop room. He walked past the workers and walked to the corner. The red raincoat stood alone at the corner of the crowd. She observed everything silently but did not take one step forward. When she saw Chen Ge walking toward her, she was quite surprised. When her eyes swept to the blue raincoat that Chen Ge was holding, it was like her body was struck by lightning. I have helped you find your child's raincoat. I will definitely fulfill my promise to you. Chen Ge handed the blue raincoat to the poor mother. There is a curse lingering on the blue raincoat. I have had the red high heels take a look at it. The curse is different from the ghost fetuses. It appears to be related to the hospital in Shanghai. Just as Chen Ge said that, the red raincoat grabbed his arm. Bring me there. Looking into the eyes of the red raincoat, Chen Ge nodded lightly, of course. The red raincoat slowly let go of his arm. At the same time, the black phone vibrated. Chen Ge took out the phone to glance at it. The red raincoat's information had already appeared in the employee information tab on the phone. After the gifts were almost distributed, the employees all returned to the underground scenario. Chen Ge sat alone in the prop room. He took out the recorder from his backpack and pressed a button. The static of electricity echoed in his ears. A blood-red shadow silently appeared beside Chen Ge. He did not ask for any reason, did not make any request, and did not even care whether he would be in danger or not. As long as Chen Ge pressed the button on the recorder, he would appear. Xu Yin. Chen Ge looked at the boy standing beside him. Looking at the sad and pained face, he took out a music score from the drawer. Xu Yin, this is for you. Many songs were written on the blood-stained music sheet, and every note was filled with joy. The sound of static echoed in his ears, but Xu Yin did not touch the music sheet in Chen Ge's hand. He stood where he was silently, just like how he had always been, guarding beside Chen Ge. He did not say a word, and he did not care about anything. He was deceived by the person he loved the most, hurt by the person he loved the most, and dismembered by the person he loved the most. It was as if from the moment the knife pierced into his heart, Shu Yin was no longer himself. All the hope, all the happiness, all the love had been shattered. He drank the drink handed to him by the person he loved the most, and in his daze, he saw the person he loved the most standing next to him with the knife. He wanted to scream, but he could not make a sound. He wanted to struggle, but he could not control his body. He could only look at the face of the person he loved the most, and let despair slowly swallow him. After Shu Yin became a specter, he lost his mind. Every time he encountered an enemy, no matter how strong the enemy was, he would charge forward like a madman. He wanted to destroy his own soul. He wanted to end the despair and pain. He had been actively seeking death. It was this kind of person who met Chen Ge. Whenever he was driven mad by despair or tortured by pain, Chen Ge would help him up from the ground. There was no fear or disgust in Chen Ge's eyes when he looked at Shu Yin, only warmth and concern. In this world, the only person who could truly understand Shu Yin was Chen Ge. Take it. Compared to making you stronger, I hope you can smile like before. Chen Ge handed the music sheet to Shu Yin, but when Shu Yin touched the music sheet, the tattered music sheet was instantly dyed red. The songs that recorded the good times twisted and blurred, forming new words. I am a bird that has lost its voice, no one can hear my cry. My lover plucked out all my feathers and stabbed a knife into my heart. They hugged my body and said that it was all for my own good. I understand, I know. The person she loves, she wants to personally create. The bloody words appeared on the music score, tearing apart the beauty and revealing the bloody and cruel side. Throughout the entire process, Shu Yin did not do anything. All he did was hold onto the music score. I can't go back. The bird was riddled with scars and its body was pierced by a knife. It had already lost its crisp voice. The beautiful music score was soaked in blood and slipped through Shu Yin's fingers. Just as it was about to fall to the ground, a pair of hands caught it. It's okay. Don't force yourself to accept the beauty of the past. You can have your own happiness now. There was light in Chen Ge's eyes. He patted Shu Yin's shoulder. Compared to when I first met you, you have changed a lot. I will always be by your side. After finding his own heart, Shu Yin's emotions stabilized. He was no longer dominated by pain and despair, and his world started to take on other colors. One day, I will give you and everyone in the haunted house happiness. Chen Ge placed the bloodied music sheet on the table. His eyes were gentle but filled with power. Standing before Chen Ge, Shu Yin opened his mouth, but no sound came out. His pale fingers brushed over the music sheet, and his body slowly dissolved into blood vessels. Shu Yin took the music sheet. When his body was about to disappear, he wrote the last short song on the music sheet. The world kisses me with pain, but I am willing to repay it with song. Silence returned to the prop room. Chen Ge looked at the spot where Shu Yin had disappeared. At the last moment before Shu Yin disappeared, Chen Ge noticed a very scary power surging out from Shu Yin's body. He seemed to have broken through some kind of barrier and carved a black pattern on his heart. Has Shu Yin figured something out? The presence around him suddenly grew stronger, and his presence started to change from other red specters. The black pattern on his heart is similar to the pattern on Zhang Ya's dress. Could it be that Shu Yin has planted a seed of a demon god for himself? Could it be that the item that I drew from the black phone is so useful to a red specter? No, other than the increase in affection toward me, Meng Nan's power did not increase at all. Looks like this thing differs from person to person. Quote. The items that were drawn from the Wheel of Fortune sealed the specter's past. They could help a specter or a red specter become more perfect, but ultimately, they were just external objects. The reason why Shu Yin had changed so much was because of Chen Ge. Who would have thought that a specter who wished to die would meet the kindest person? At 8:10 p.m., the door of a grocery store on the old city's western street was smashed open. Various snacks littered the ground. Not long after that, a young man in a white shirt was dragged out from the room. Brother Leopard, Brother Yane, this has nothing to do with my family. Like we agreed, I will give you the money. The young man's face was covered in blood, but he struggled to get up from the ground like he could not feel the pain. Do you think we will still believe you? A cunning rabbit has 3 burrows? If you didn't keep changing places to hide, do you think we would have found this place? Smashing the beer bottle in his hand. A middle-aged man with a bare upper body walked out from the room. There was a scar at the corner of his eye, and a leopard's head was tattooed on his arm. Brother Leopard, 3 days at most. I will definitely gather the money and deliver it to you. The young man lied on the ground and promised. How are you going to pay me back? Brother Leopard grabbed the broken beer bottle and pointed the sharpest end at the young man's face. I see that this Grandpa Cripple's shop is worth some money. Have him buy the shop, and perhaps we can gather the money. No, definitely not. This is my grandfather's. What are you talking about? What right do you have to say no? The other man patted his waist like there was a knife hidden there. Don't mess with my family. I will pay you back no matter what. 3 days. Give me 3 more days. Fine, if you don't give me the money in 3 days, then I will cut off one of your hands. Brother Leopard grabbed the young man's hair and forced him to look into his eyes. There was a man who wanted to go back on his word, so I chopped off one of his hands. The blood flowed all over the ground, and I couldn't stop it no matter what I did. Do you want to take a look at that hand? As a souvenir, I have kept it. There's no need. I will find a way to pay you back. The young man knelt on the ground until Brother Leopard and Brother Ying left. He wiped the blood off his face, lowered his head, and pushed open the door of the grocery store. The bottles and drinks were shattered on the ground, and the shelves were overturned. In the middle of the small room sat an old man with a limp. The old man was old, and his head had been smashed by a bottle. The blood was conspicuous among his white hair. You are? Other than the old man, a middle-aged man in a red coat had appeared in the room. He was holding a cotton swab and rubbing alcohol. Very carefully, he removed the glass shards from the old man's wound. Why did the group of people only beat up your grandfather and not you? The man in the red coat's voice was devoid of emotion. My grandfather wanted to protect this little shop, so he got into a fight with them. How much do you owe them? 300,000. Actually, I owed them 50,000 from the beginning, and now they want me to return 300,000. The young man ran to the old man's side and helped him tend to the old man's wound. He kept holding the old man's hand, and his heart was not as calm as he appeared. I've already returned them 70,000, but they still come to chase me. I really don't have any money left. Why do you owe them money? Because you like to gamble? The middle-aged man in the red coat asked without raising his head. Him. The young man did not dare speak anymore, and he did not dare to look at the old man's face. Those who like to gamble will never win. The middle-aged man in the red coat stood up. His red eyes stared at the young man. If you can find a job and work hard, I can help you pay back your debt. You are willing to help me? The young man was at his wit's end. He looked at the man in the red coat with complicated emotions. Thank you. I will definitely return the money to you. Can you give me your contact number? I am helping you because in you, I see the small version of myself that was once crawling on the ground. I was once at my wit's end, but at the time, there was no one to help me. The man in the red coat's eyes were bloodshot. I do not need you to pay back the debt. I only need you to take good care of your grandfather. If you still dare to gamble in the future, I will take your life. The man in the red coat walked out of the shop. The young man quickly chased after him. Where are you going? I am going to find the group of people that just left to collect their debt. Do they owe you money as well? Money? The man in the red coat reached out his arm that was stuck in his pocket. They owe me an arm. Inside the VIP room of Jia Hao nightclub, several couples were having a wild night. The lights in the room flickered several times before going out like someone had cut the circuit. F***CK. The power is out? Where's the waiter? Xiao Bao. What kind of place did you pick? How come there is no one in the corridor? This is so F***CK disappointing. The shrill singing disappeared, and the nightclub became eerily quiet like everyone's mouth had been sewn shut. Is anyone there? F***CK. It's so dark. What the hell is going on? Brother Bao and Brother Ying followed behind a large man. The three walked out from the room, and they wandered around for a long time before they saw a single person. The man was sitting in the middle of the hall, wearing a blood-red shirt. Hey, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf? Brother Bao kicked the sofa to the side. Do you see the waiter here? The man in the red coat took a sip of the wine in his glass. He did not even look at Brother Bao as he walked directly toward the large man. This man is a bit strange. What are you doing? Stop right there, Brother Ying blocked the man's way. I owe you money, and the boss told me to pay you back. The man in the red coat took out a card from his pocket. This is the money that I owe you. Brother Ying turned to look at the large man, and the latter did not ask for more details. It was a good thing that someone had come to give him money, so why would he not accept it? I've received the money, so you can leave now. The large man had a feeling that the man in the red coat looked familiar, and he had a very bad feeling in his heart. I've paid back the money that I owe you, so now it's time for you to return the things that you've taken from me. The middle-aged man in the red coat had one hand in his pocket. He stood in the middle of the hall. Endless blood vessels fell from the ceiling, and the red blood spread across the floor. We took your things. The large man looked at the middle-aged man's face, and his eyes slowly widened. His expression suddenly twisted, and a name that he had almost forgotten appeared in his mind. Bai Cholan. Don't you remember? The middle-aged man's red eyes stared at the three people in the hall. The red shirt was as red as blood, and the air around him shook the roof. I've been looking for that hand for a long time. At 9:30 p.m., Chen Ge summoned all the red specters in the underground scenario. After waiting for several minutes, Bai Cholan finally arrived. The presence that radiated off his body had obviously changed from before. The flaw left behind by consuming Shan Qing had disappeared, and there was an additional power in his eyes that made people afraid to look him in the eye. Seeing the change in Bai Cholan, Meng Nan pouted. Now there's one more red specter that I can't defeat. This is so annoying. Okay, everyone is here. Chen Ge clapped his hands to signal for them to quiet down. The reason I've called you here today is to welcome our new colleagues. Who are you trying to fool? Bringing so many red specters to welcome new colleagues. Aren't you afraid of sudden death? Meng Nan grumbled softly before turning to look at Bai Cholan with envy. When will I become stronger? There are 9 new colleagues in total. I've written down all their information and characteristics. Please take note of them lest we get the wrong people. After all the red specters had memorized their names, Chen Ge summoned everyone into the comic and then hailed a cab to leave the haunted house. He first went to an apartment building in the old part of the city. The pace of life here was slow, and most of the tenants were old people and children. He climbed to the 4th floor in one go, and Chen Ge stopped at the door to the public bathroom. The old door was sealed with wooden boards, and the landlord had added 2 large locks on it. There were several pieces of yellow paper pasted on the door. This should be the place. Chen Ge took out the hammer from his backpack and opened the lock on the bathroom door. He pushed open the bathroom door and saw the various newspapers and magazines scattered on the ground. No one has been in this bathroom for a long time. Following the information provided by the black phone, Chen Ge came to the 4th cubicle. He shook the cubicle door several times and realized that the cubicle was locked from the inside. He turned to enter the 3rd cubicle. He stepped on the toilet with the newspaper under his feet, leaned against the partition, and used yin-yang vision to look into the 4th cubicle. Inside the small cubicle sat a middle-aged man. The man looked tired, like he was not interested in anything. Even when he saw a living person lying next to him, he did not have the intention to scare the person. Hey, do you want to change yourself with me? Chen Ge yelled at the man. The middle-aged man sitting on the toilet looked left and right. Then, he raised his head in confusion and pointed at himself. You can see me? Of course, I'm the owner of a haunted house. Isn't it normal to see ghosts? Chen Ge looked at the middle-aged man with a smile. Are you willing to walk out of your comfort zone and start a new life? No, the middle-aged man lowered his head to continue reading his newspaper. He did not respond to Chen Ge at all. I want to make a change with you. Why don't you become my haunted house employee? Chen Ge flipped through the comic, and the sound of pages turning echoed inside the cubicle. What's wrong with you? The middle-aged man raised his head impatiently. By then, the whole toilet was covered in blood vessels. Soon, the heads of 10 red specters appeared next to the cubicle. I'm serious. Please look into the eyes of the 10 red specters and think about it, Chen Ge said with sincerity. Putting down the newspaper, the middle-aged man who was surrounded by 10 red specters rushed out from the cubicle. He grabbed Chen Ge's hand. You and I are like old friends. From today onward, my life is yours. Have you washed your hands? Aristotle once said that those who sit on the toilet are not necessarily taking a shish asterisk tea. They might be searching for the corner of life and pondering the ultimate mystery of the universe. You know philosophy? I know a thing or two. Congratulations. Red Spectre's favored. Congratulations on obtaining Toilet Ghost. The number of employees will increase by 1. Toilet Ghost, Dong Wentao. No one knows his past, and no one knows why he became what he is now. I can only tell you that he has a lot of potential, and it depends on whether you can unlock it or not. Chen Ge looked at the new message on the black phone. He did not expect the Toilet Ghost to directly become a haunted house employee. I only used 10 red specters to invite him, but he agreed so easily. Studying the Toilet Ghost standing among the group of red specters, Chen Ge did not expect the black phone to have such a high opinion of him. This baleful specter looked normal. He was wearing an old, tattered suit, and his hair was messy. He looked like a typical member of society. Since he has potential, I'll have to force him. Perhaps the uncle will be able to overcome the obstacles and ride the waves. Putting the Toilet Ghost and the other red specters back into the comic, Chen Ge walked out of the bathroom. This place was originally a haunted place, but now that the baleful specter has been taken away, it's a waste to leave it like this. He removed the yellow paper from the door and used a ballpoint pen that was covered in tape to write something on the back. The specter has left. You can use this bathroom without worry. After pasting the yellow paper on the door, Chen Ge dragged the hammer and walked out of the apartment. Who should I go and pick up next? Looking at the map on the phone, Chen Ge came to Zhujiang's 3rd subway line. The black phone said that this baleful specter is hiding on Zhujiang's 4th subway line, but there are only 3 subway lines in Zhujiang, and the 4th line is still under construction. By then, the subway station was about to close. Chen Ge stopped near the 3rd line and asked for information about the 4th line. The worker said that the 4th line would take a long time before it could be used. He did not give the exact reason, but his expression was strange. After a few more questions, the worker said that the surveillance at Zhujiang's subway station would often capture a strange person at night. The man would appear on different trains, always sitting alone on a seat, and the people around him did not seem to notice his presence at all. As the construction of Line 4 began, the surveillance cameras could no longer see the figure of the man. However, the workers often saw ghostly shadows moving in the depths of the tunnel. The workers suspected that the ghosts in the subway had run into the construction of Line 4. After getting a general understanding of the situation, Chen Ge silently snuck into the construction site of Line 4. To prevent himself from being discovered, he had to summon a few red specters and have them hide their presence as they entered the tunnel to search. Initially, Chen Ge was prepared to spend a long time searching. However, before he could get far, he vaguely saw a naked young man running at full speed towards the depths of the tunnel. Running around naked at the subway construction site at 11 p.m.? It was hard for Chen Ge not to notice him. He immediately ordered several red specters to restrain the young man. The strange thing was that the young man seemed to know that Chen Ge was coming. He looked at Chen Ge's face with eyes full of fear. Have we met before? Chen Ge felt that something was wrong. They had not met before, so why would the man look at him like that? You are not afraid of a red specter but me? Why? Do you know me? That can't be right. If you know me, then you should know what kind of person I am. Blood vessels appeared on the young man's body and morphed into a simple shirt. His face was pale, and his body was almost transparent. He looked like he was about to die. Brother, at least say something. Is there some kind of misunderstanding between us? Chen Ge just walked to the young man's side, and the young man sat on the ground. He used all the energy in his body to retreat until he was stopped by a red specter. Seeing that there was no way out, he crawled up from the ground like he had accepted his fate. He turned to Chen Ge and said, I am willing to work at your haunted house. Once the young man said that, it was Chen Ge who was stunned. Why did you answer me before I even said anything? Do you know how to read minds? The young man's face was still pale, and he shook his head helplessly. We met once 10 seconds ago. 10 seconds ago? My name is Shi Guo. My power is to return to 10 seconds ago. This power has a very big limitation. I can only use it once a month, but if I use it well, it can be very effective, the young man said softly. Time talent? Not only Chen Ge, even the red specters around him were shocked. Even though Shi Guo's power could only be used once a month, if used properly, it could turn the tide. Only I can return to 10 seconds ago, so it's not as useful as you think. Shi Guo smiled bitterly. I used this power earlier, but even if you gave me 10 seconds, I wouldn't have been able to escape from you. By the way, how did you know about my existence? And why did you bring 10 red specters with you? I was fighting with a cursed hospital in Shanghai. They obtained your information and wanted to enslave and modify you, so I made my move before they could. Chen Ge extended his hand toward Shi Guo seriously. Welcome to Haunted House. If you have any last wishes or things that you wish to do, you can tell me. Shi Guo hesitated for a moment before shaking Chen Ge's hand. By the way, why are you so afraid of me? What did I do to you 10 seconds ago? I can't tell you. If I do, I'll suffer a very scary backlash. Shi Guo was willing to join Haunted House, but there was no notification on the black phone. He still did not fully trust Chen Ge, so he probably had other plans. Putting Shi Guo into the comic, Chen Ge placed him together with Ol, Bai and Lao Zhou. The quality of the specters recorded in the black phone's Wheel of Fortune is indeed very high. Such a unique power is too rare. Chen Ge valued Shi Guo a lot, but unfortunately, Shi Guo did not reveal any information about himself, so Chen Ge could not find the right remedy to help Shi Guo undo the knot in his heart. Take it slow, I still have time. Putting away the comic and the black phone, Chen Ge came to a high-rise residential area. It was already midnight, and there were not many tenants in the area. At a glance, there were only a few houses with their lights on. The black phone only said that the butterfly hairpin is in this area, but it didn't give me the actual address. There are at least 100 houses in this area. Do I have to go door to door to look for it? Chen Ge stood in the middle of the residential area and looked up at the few buildings. How long will that take? Taking out the comic, Chen Ge hesitated. It was not a good idea to let a ghost into other people's homes. He was a man of principle. If others did not provoke him, he would not try to influence them. I'll go look for it myself. Holding the comic, Chen Ge was about to pull his gaze away when he saw a woman with long hair standing on the top floor of one of the buildings. Narrowing his eyes, Chen Ge used yin-yang vision, and he could see clearly that the woman was holding something in her hands, standing at the edge of the building. As if sensing Chen Ge's gaze, the woman, who had been spacing out, slowly turned her head. Her black hair fell to reveal a pale and twisted face. Chen Ge's shadow was reflected in her red eyes. The bloodied lips slowly opened like she was trying to say something to Chen Ge. The more she spoke, the more her emotions went out of control. Her face twisted, and black veins popped on her skin. She, who had turned into a monster, finally made a decision. She raised her hands and put the butterfly hairpin on her head. Her eyes filled with venom stared at Chen Ge. She opened her arms like a black butterfly flying into a flame. She jumped down from the building and extended her arms toward Chen Ge with a wicked smile. The night wind buffeted her clothes, and wounds appeared on her body. Half of her body was dyed red, and all the pain turned into hatred. The first present that you gave me, I have been carrying it on my head. I treat everything that you have given me as a treasure, but you. Resentment stung her eyes. The woman in the half-red shirt was halfway through her sentence when she suddenly saw a child cursing beside the young man downstairs. Then, a middle-aged man with one hand in his pocket appeared next to the child. Then, the woman, who was falling at high speed, suddenly heard the sound of static. One after another, figures in red appeared next to the young man. The resentment and blood vessels that radiated from their bodies felt like they were going to bury the whole residential area alive. The scary presence caused the woman to shiver. But the problem was, she was already halfway through her jump, and she could not control her body anymore. She could only watch as she fell. Which one of you wants to go and catch her? Endless blood vessels curled around the woman's body. Her face was twisted, but she kept her head facing downward as she landed about 1 meter before Chen Ge. She was surrounded by about 10 red specters. She had forgotten what she wanted to say, and now she felt like she did not know what to do. If you run into any difficulties in life, You have to communicate. If no one is willing to listen, you can come find me in the future. Chen Ge had the red specters pull back the blood vessels. He helped the woman up from the ground. What is the name of that scumbag who betrayed you? I can bring you to him. First, she was scared to death. Then she was suddenly touched. The woman's lips trembled. He escaped from this city and got married in Shanghai. Shanghai? No problem. In a few days, I will personally bring you to him. Are you willing to come with me? Chen Ge's eyes were clear, and there was no impurity in them. The woman nodded. Honestly, she was still feeling lightheaded. Everything that happened that night was too sudden for a ghost. Then, we will be a family from now on. I will help you fulfill your wish. Chen Ge pulled the woman into the comic and led his employees to the next location. I didn't expect the baleful specter on the butterfly hairpin to be a half-red specter. She has a strong resentment. With some training, she should be able to become a red specter. Glancing at the map on his phone, Chen Ge walked out of the building. The only red specter that I drew is also in the new district. Since I'm already here, I might as well pay her a visit. Red specter Shui Rong. She was in the new district's Yi Ren Pavilion. The Black Phone's evaluation of her was extremely dangerous. Zhujiang's new district was quite well built. It was close to Shanghai, and it was a hub for traffic, so there were many outsiders. Chen Ge could not find the location of the Yi Ren Pavilion in the navigation on his phone. He searched for a long time online before he found some information related to the Yi Ren Pavilion. This beauty salon was very popular a few years ago. It specialized in high-end beauty and body care, and it was only famous among the upper class. Then, for some reason, it was suddenly shut down by the police. There were many theories online, but the most reliable one was that it was related to a murder case. The victim's information had not been released to the public, and it was unknown whether the killer had been caught or not. The victim's family did not seem to be held accountable. The whole case was like a stone that had been tossed into a deep pool. After a few ripples, no one paid any more attention to it. Following the scattered clues on the internet, Chen Ge passed through the tall buildings and arrived at the other side of the city. The new district that looked bright and beautiful in the day appeared deserted at night. The buildings on the sides of the road slowly became shorter, and the air became fresher. At the end of the cement road, Chen Ge saw an abandoned garden. Many kinds of flowers clung to the rusted railings. It was already past the season for flowers to bloom, but the flowers on the railings were still as red as blood. This place had not been taken care of for several years. The grass was overgrown, and the trees were crooked due to the lack of pruning. Jumping over the railings, Chen Ge saw a small path among the weeds. Walking on it, he could feel the beauty of this garden. Zhujiang has this kind of Chinese and Western garden. If such a good place is abandoned just because it is haunted, it will be such a waste. Chen Ge walked to the end of the road, and a bungalow appeared before him. The style of the building was more Western, but above the door, the Chinese characters for Yi Ren Pavilion were written in a flamboyant style. It is better to be careful when dealing with a red specter. Even though Chen Ge had many helpers, if he was careless, the red specter still had the chance to escape. Flipping through the comic, before Chen Ge summoned his employees, he reminded them to restrain their presence. The red specters appeared one after another, but nothing strange happened to the abandoned bungalow until the red high heels appeared. Actually, Chen Ge did not plan to summon the red high heels. He wanted the red high heels to absorb the ghost fetus memory as soon as possible. If the red high heels could become a demon god before he went to the hospital, then the pressure on him would be greatly reduced. But to Chen Ge's surprise, the red high heels seemed to sense something and voluntarily showed herself. To his surprise, once the red high heels appeared, the whole abandoned bungalow, including the large garden, started to be covered in a blood fog. Drops of fresh blood coagulated on the leaves like dew. It looked very strange. The red high heels walked to stand before all the red specters. Only Xiao Biyu could resist her presence, and this was just the presence that she gave off subconsciously. Will this scare them away? Soon, Chen Ge realized that his worry was unfounded. The door to Yi Ren Pavilion was pushed open from the inside, and the heavy smell of medicine and the stinging smell of blood drifted out at the same time. The red high heels walked into it directly. Chen Ge quickly called the other employees to follow her. The interior of the bungalow was decorated very strangely. Many portraits of human faces hung on the walls, and the floor tiles were pieced together to look like human faces. Almost all the objects in the room had human bodies painted on them. This place is too scary. Chen Ge stood quietly among the employees. I need to find a reason to persuade Director Luo to buy this place. The western bungalow was filled with human faces and pictures related to the human body. Being inside it gave off a very strange feeling. No one had been here for a long time, but there was not a speck of dust. It was very clean, like it had been cleaned every day. The red high heels walked ahead alone. She appeared to have been here before. She walked to the center of the hall with her whole body covered in bandages and stopped next to an indoor fountain. Be careful. Guard all the exits later. Do not let anything escape from this place. Chen Ge mixed in with a group of red specters and did not feel out of place. In fact, his expression was similar to the rest of the red specters. The smell of blood and medicine thickened in the air. Large blood vessels started to surface on the walls. It felt like the whole building was about to be torn apart. The faces on the walls started to shed tears of blood. Their eyes slowly turned to stare at the red high heels. Everything in the house that was related to the human body seemed to come alive. The bungalow revealed its true form. This place appeared to be built from human bodies. Throughout the whole process, the red high heels did not show any reaction. She stood before the fountain and stared silently at the dried fountain. Several minutes later, the sound of running water came from the fountain. The few female carvings on the inner wall opened their mouths, and the stench of blood poured madly into the fountain. The blood that gave off a pungent smell formed a huge contrast to the exquisite carvings on the fountain. The fountain returned to normal, and the blood splattered everywhere. It seemed to cover everyone and everything in a thin layer of blood veil. This red specter appears to be planning to trap us, Meng Nan whispered. Even though he was not that powerful, he had seen a lot of things, and his mind was very sharp. To trap 10 red specters, she sure is brave. The red high heels beside the fountain also noticed the change. She continued to move forward, and with each step, the bandages on her body would slip away. The strange and scary black tattoos flowed on her body. It was a kind of beauty that could shake one's heart. Throughout the whole 4-star ghost fetus mission, the one who gained the most was the red high heels. She had consumed almost everything that belonged to the ghost fetus. After exiting the ghost fetus scenario, she had absorbed and organized the ghost fetus memory. Even Chen Ge had no idea how powerful the red high heels was now. When the red high heels got close, the beautiful faces inside the fountain all became twisted. They screamed at the red high heels, and they no longer looked like humans at all. The cursed tattoos on his body spread out in all directions, and the black threads cut the fountain in front of him like knives. After the statues shattered one by one, the intertwining blood vessels were revealed. They were not on the same level, or perhaps the red specter inside the bungalow was not using her full power. In the end, you still found me. An extremely unpleasant female voice came from the depths of the fountain. The speaker's throat seemed to have been injured before, and her voice was very harsh. The blood in the fountain flowed to the sides, and the ground cracked. A monster in red was buried under the mansion. Her skin was deathly pale, and a few blood-red flowers bloomed on her body. Her entire body was fixed under the fountain by countless blood threads. How did you find me? The monster lifted his head to look at the red high heels, and his lips involuntarily curled into a smile. My proudest patient. Patient? Chen Ge caught the keyword in the monster's words instantly. He was reminded of the bloody mission related to the red high heels. Could it be that the red high heels once stayed at the cursed hospital? And this red specter is a doctor from the cursed hospital? Chen Ge had no idea what the monster had done to the red high heels, but this was the first time that he had seen the red high heels so actively make a move. The black threads of the curse enveloped the whole bungalow. The black fog completely suppressed the blood fog. The threads curled around the monster's body and directly dragged her out from the bottom of the fountain. The monster did not resist. She merely laughed like she had lost her mind. Do you think it is painful for the patients to be treated? Actually, the ones who suffer the most are us doctors. You can still escape. You still have the chance to escape. But what about us? Once we choose to leave, the curse that the hospital director planted in our bodies will be triggered, and we will not even be able to live as ghosts anymore. The shrill voice echoed in the lobby. The red high heels looked at the monster before her with a complicated gaze. There was anger, resentment, pity, and pity. Chen Ge walked out from the group of people and walked to the red high heels' side. The red specter who was bound by the curse also saw Chen Ge. A blood-red flower bloomed in her left eye socket. At that moment, she was using her right eye to study Chen Ge. A living human is standing together with a top red specter? Earlier, the monster's attention had been completely focused on the red high heels, so she did not notice that there was a normal human mixed in with the group of red specters. Initially, she had thought that this was a toy that one of the red specters had created, but based on the current situation, this normal human appeared to be the leader of all the red specters. I don't get it. Were you once a doctor from the cursed hospital in Shanghai? Chen Ge did not waste time. He cut to the chase. Answer my questions, and perhaps we can still be friends. Are you threatening me? The flower on her body dripped blood. The red specter did not expect that one day, she would be threatened by a normal human. Earlier, I heard you say that everyone who worked as a doctor at that hospital ended up with a horrible fate, and they could not even become ghosts anymore? Chen Ge stared into the red specter's eyes. His expression was calm, and there was not even a trace of emotion in his eyes. Yes, the hospital director planted a curse on every doctor. The red specter was now being suppressed by the red high heels. She very wisely did not resist but chose to answer Chen Ge's questions honestly. Can this kind of curse be removed? Why are you asking this? The red specter was confused. I know a doctor who escaped from your hospital. After he died, he became a top red specter, but the second time I saw him, he had completely lost his mind, and he was hugging the head of the person he loved the most in his arms. Many questions that he did not understand before were slowly being answered. When Chen Ge heard what the red specter said, he was instantly reminded of Dr. Gao. No one can remove the hospital director's curse. Even if he becomes a greater red specter, he will continue to carry the curse, unless he voluntarily gives up on the curse, or, a crazed smile appeared on the red specter's face. You can destroy the hospital director's soul. Is this curse that scary? Chen Ge initially thought that after the red high heels became a demon god, he would be able to easily remove the curse on Dr. Gao. He planned to use this as a bargaining chip to negotiate with Dr. Gao, but from the looks of it, he had been too naive. It is scarier than you think. One could say that it is unsolvable. Several years ago, I escaped from the hospital during a riot and came to Zhujiang to open this beauty salon. To deal with the curse, I kept changing my body, but even so, it only delayed the time for the curse to explode. The red specter's lips parted to reveal the flower that had bloomed in her throat. What will happen after the curse explodes? Will my soul be destroyed directly? The curse will strip away my consciousness and drive me insane. I will wish I was dead. The red specter's description was very similar to what Dr. Gao had done in Liwan City. But you are very conscious now. Chen Ge had many questions that he wanted to ask. The appearance of the red specter was too important for him. Do you see the flowers that have bloomed all over my body? I have used them to temporarily suppress the curse, but if I move too much, the curse will consume me instantly, and I will lose my mind again. The blood vessels and flowers on the red specter's body had the same purpose as the black chains that bound Dr. Gao. They were there to suppress the curse. Chen Ge asked many more questions. For some reason, the red specter was very cooperative. She told him everything that she knew. When the red specter was alive, her name was Shui Rong. She was the best plastic surgeon in Shanghai. One day, she suddenly received an invitation from the cursed hospital. The hospital hoped that she could come and help with a surgery. The high reward moved Shui Rong, but when she arrived at the surgery room at the agreed time, she realized that her patient did not appear to be a human. This was also the first time that the red high heels and Shui Rong met. The surgery was not a success, and the red high heels was taken away by the hospital. From that day onward, she was haunted by the curse. In the end, she became one of the night doctors at the cursed hospital, and the red high heels was the main patient that she was responsible for. The red high heels was just a red spectre, but the hospital placed great importance on her because her talent was related to curses, and that was very rare. Surgery after surgery, failure after failure. When Shui Rong and the red high heels were both numb to it, the riot that Dr. Gao and the ghost fetus planned together happened. Many patients and doctors chose to leave. Shui Rong also abandoned the red high heels on the surgery table. She stole the most beautiful face of the red high heels and chose to escape alone. Most of the patients and the ghost fetus hid in Liwan City. The red high heels went to Liwan City that night to look for Shui Rong and to find her most beautiful face. There was a cause and effect, and the broken clues connected together. Under the gaze of the 10 red specters, Shui Rong took out a box from her chest. She handed the box to the red high heels with great reluctance. The pale fingers opened the box. No one saw what was inside the box, but they felt the presence of the red high heels become scarier and scarier. The red high heels seemed to have found what she was looking for. She lost interest in Shui Rong and returned directly to the comic. Seeing the red high heels leave, not only Shui Rong, even the other red specters around Chen Ge sighed in relief. I have told you everything that I know. Can you let me go now? Shui Rong collapsed in the blood pool. After she took out the box from her chest, she became even weaker. I'm cursed by the hospital. If you consume me, you'll be affected by the curse as well. The loss outweighs the gain. Why don't we form a good relationship? Chen Ge was also considering how to deal with Shui Rong. She was affected by the curse, and if the other specters consumed her, they might be cursed as well. It was impossible to have her enter the haunted house as an employee. If she suddenly lost control, the visitors would be in danger. Ever since I met you, you have been showing weakness. You have not shown your true power at all. Compared to Shui Rong's words, Chen Jade trusted the Black Phone's judgment more. Shui Rong was an extremely dangerous red spectre, and she had many hidden powers that she had not used yet. If I move too much, the curse will be triggered. At the time, I was indeed very scary. Even I was afraid of myself. Shui Rong's tone suddenly changed. But even if I lose control, I am no match for a top red spectre. Her power is increasing too fast. Based on the prediction of the other night doctors, the curse should be the hardest to break. A wise man submits to the circumstances. I need all the information in your mind about the cursed hospital. If you are willing to cooperate with me wholeheartedly, perhaps one day, I will be able to help you lift the curse. When Chen Ge spoke, he did not use any special tone, but it was enough to give off a sense of trust. You can convince the hospital director? I wish to try another method. Chen Ge flipped through the comic and pulled Shui Rong into it. The originally blank pages were dyed red. Flowers bloomed on the beautiful carcass. Shui Rong appeared to have fallen asleep. Yan Danian probably did not expect that one day, there would be so many red specters residing in his comic. Since Shui Rong could lose control at any moment, Chen Ge had to make sure that there were a few red specters in the comic waiting for her. Come on, we should go and pick up our next colleague. In one night, Chen Ge found all 9 specters that he had drawn from the Wheel of Fortune. This efficiency was many times higher than before. When he returned to the staff break room, the sun had already risen. Chen Ge closed the curtain and prepared to take a nap. At the same time, inside the hospital affiliated to Zhujiang Medical University, Mr. Wang sat up from his bed. He reached out to pull back the curtain to allow the sun to shine on him. Mr. Wang, are you feeling better? Zhuo Han's voice came from the bed next to him. He was doing push-ups with one hand on the bed. My head is still a bit dizzy. I feel like many of my memories are not connected. It feels like I've forgotten something. Mr. Wang took out a notebook from the drawer. It was filled with the records of everything that had happened on the day he entered the haunted house, including where he had taken a sip of water. No, there is a problem with the logic. My memory appears to be lying to me. Sir, those things are in the past. There is no need to dwell on them anymore, Zhuo Han advised softly. You don't understand. That day, I felt like I saw my old teacher, but this part is not in my memory. Mr. Wang frowned deeply. He wanted to say something else when the door to the room was knocked on. 2 staff members and a uniformed police officer walked in. Mr. Wang, the higher-ups have approved your request. You will be able to go to Shanghai in a few days, one of the staff members said. One of the staff members said, "This is an elite from the city's criminal investigation team. He also participated in the case 20 years ago. I spent a lot of effort to get him to come over from the city's police station. He will accompany you there." For more thrilling fanfiction stories like this, check out my channel Fanfic Audiobook. Dive into epic adventures, mysterious realms, and legendary journeys brought to life through immersive storytelling. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing audiobooks.